Hey, everybody. GameHounds podcast. We're back after a very long, almost, it wasn't that long. It was 2 weeks, but still, that seems like a really long time to be
It
gone.
was 2 weeks in like the not E3 time period, so it definitely seems longer.
Which is why it's called something belated, not E3.
Captures the essence of
Really,
the past 2 weeks.
it very much does. So, hey, we're back. I am back from a Giants game. I did not get a Hello Kitty jersey.
What was the
Apparently,
point of going then?
yeah, I know, really. But apparently, it was such pandemonium to get those jerseys that it actually made the San Francisco Chronicle about how pissed people were. They started
Really?
camping out like at 6 o'clock in the morning, and they only had 10,000 of them or 15,000, very low amount. And the ballpark holds close to 50,000 people. So it was the first 10,000. And rather than hand them out one at a time, they just dropped boxes inside the gate. So when you passed the gate, there was a big box, and people were just walking away with
Mm,
them. And so it was, well, first off, 10,000. I've done Hello Kitty almost every year. And it's always been something like 35,000 is considered low. 40,000 is considered, I should say 40,000 considered high. 35 is standard. Anything below 30 is considered a very low amount. And it seems like this year, the Giants games, a lot of their stuff are only 10 or 15,000 available for the first 10 or 15,000.
I assume a lot of those jerseys are probably made in Vietnam or China.
Oh, I didn't think the tariffs might have had, I'm sure they're all made in China. I'm wondering if that might have played a part in it. But, went down to 2 Dodger games, and they didn't have that issue down in Dodgers. They were handing away 30,000 of something. I think it was Father's Day. It was we didn't go to the Father's Day game, but I think it was like a Hawaiian shirt, Dodgers Hawaiian shirt, and I think it was
Well,
30 or 35,000.
Hawaiian is American. Duh. That's not going to be subject to tariffs. It's
I can
Hawaiian.
guarantee you they were not made in Hawaii, sir. And given the state of everything, it might be that Hawaii is not even considered a part of the United States. That's just what I'm going to say on that politics. But let's just hope next week when we're having this show, we're not in World War III. Yay. But Disneyland was great. We did up Disneyland in as much as you can in one day. Honestly, I don't see how people can go to Disneyland more than like 2 days tops. Because, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of rides, but there's a lot of bullshit rides you don't want to do. There's a lot of bullshit rides not everybody's going to want to do. I mean, we did the teacups because it was the girl child's favorite, but
Okay.
the teacups were ludicrously small, especially when you're sitting with somebody who's 6'10". Absolutely, just like abominably small. And I think the girl child realized that she's no longer that like little girl size anymore. Yes, we did it. Yes, we did. We have the boy child here.
The boy child.
What's he pulling up? What are you? You just said we did it. You're gonna pull up a photo? We spun it pretty darn good. We did spun it. We did spin it.
I'm
Well,
imagining her in between the two of you, just like
yes, yes.
she's like, oh god.
It's
help.
more like Chris was like this in the teacup. It was pretty funny. I almost broke his nose because he got in just as I was trying to get in, and I went like that and came up and hit his nose. It was a comedy of errors. But yeah, we made the mistake of doing Tiana's Bayou.
Oh, that's
Adventure, which
it used to be the racist one.
Used to be Splash Mountain.
Oh yeah, no, wasn't Splash Mountain Song of the South?
Themed? I think it was Song of the
Yeah.
South, and then they have changed it around. But anyway, Splash Mountain. That was the first thing we did at 8 o'clock in the morning, or it's 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning. I got the first car.
Okay.
That was a horrific mistake at 10 o'clock in the morning on an overcast day.
Oh.
I was soaked from my
Yeah.
head to my knees, and not just like wet, as in like wringing wet soap.
Oh.
Like I I didn't completely dry out, not just me, but also all of my under things that were all soaking wet. I didn't dry out until about 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah, that's definitely the kind of ride you wanna go on, like,
Later.
at noon
I
when the
should have
sun
known
comes
why
out.
there was no line. We'd be like, "Hey, there's no
They know, people know.
line." As for best rides of Disneyland, actually might as well just make a banner here. Let's do make a banner
I
because we are
remember
reviewing.
last time I was there, I thought the Guardians of the Galaxy was really cool.
We did not go Guardians. That's one that we were
Mm,
like, I don't see a point of waiting 2.5 hours for a 30-second ride.
no, yeah. It's not worth 3.5 hours
And
for sure.
and our mutual friend Ryan was actually working it, but he worked it at 7 o'clock at night. And by 7 o'clock at night, we
Mm,
were already out of the park. We were like done. We weren't that interested in Guardians. Um, as for the not Guardians rides, Space Mountain is still the best freaking ride. It really is. I mean, that thing is what, 40 years old? At least 40 years that
yeah.
thing has been going. And it's been rebranded now to kind of Star Wars, but it existed long before Star Wars existed.
It's like the same ride, the track doesn't change, just
The
the
track
stuff
hasn't
around it
changed.
changes.
All of the stuff that you're in when you're going in to, when you're standing in line into going into quote unquote the spaceport, that has changed and become Star Wars themed. But the ride hasn't changed. The lights haven't changed. Nothing else has changed. In fact, like literally nothing has changed except for the accoutrement, except for the decorations. Still one of the best roller coasters, in my opinion. And I went to Santa Cruz last week and I went on my favorite roller coaster of all time, which is the Giant Dipper in Santa Cruz.
Hmm.
And I was sharing a car because I went by myself because the Chris and the girl child didn't want to go. So I went by myself. I ended up in the front car with a woman from Michigan who was traveling to California. And she's like, "Well, we go to Cedar Point all the time." Like, I'm a professional. The thing about roller coasters that were made 100 years ago, because this year Giant Dipper is celebrating its 100th anniversary. The thing about the Giant Dipper is you didn't have a very long ride. So you and they did not have a concept of drama when it comes to building up the drama in anticipation of like going
Mhm.
over. When that roller coaster starts, it goes 0 to 60 in like boom, and it does
Huh.
not stop. There is no pacing. It's just ride as fast as you can, throw yourself around, lifting out of the seats, crashing back and forth into each other. It is fast and violent, and it is awesome. It
That's a
is the
wooden
only
one,
roller coaster
right?
when you get off and you're kind of like, like you can feel the adrenaline running through your system, and you're like, that was a good ride.
Yeah, that's a wooden one, isn't it?
That is wood. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
100 years ago, and it's a wooden. It's one of the original woods. Yes.
The wood one in Disneyland is probably.
Yeah, the wood one. We did not go on the wood one in Disneyland. The Incredicoaster, because
I
it
don't know
had,
that one.
yeah, it has a loop. It's over in the California Adventure. See, last time I was
Oh,
at
okay, okay.
Disneyland, California Adventure didn't even exist.
Yeah.
So we went. It's the one that goes on the loop,
And
and Girl Child saw that and was like, "Mm-mm, not going to do it. I can't do that." And I was like, "Have you ever been on one?" She goes, "No." I go, "Well, you don't know." And she's like, "No, I'm not going to find out." I'm like, "All right."
I mean, to be fair, the wooden roller coasters are always like so imagine going in a loop of that. Like,
Well,
you
they
want to go
smooth
on?
that out. They
Have
absolutely
they?
smooth
Have
that. Oh
they?
yeah. Oh yeah. They have to smooth that out. That's the thing is it's a modern wooden roller coaster, so it's got all of the typical modern building codes, ideas of creating drama that didn't exist 100 years ago. Yes.
By the
Okay.
way, it is Disney's version of the Santa Cruz.
It is
Yeah,
Disney's
that
version.
whole Disney thing in California Adventure.
Oh, that
based on
makes
the Santa
sense. That
Cruz
it would be
boardwalk.
it would be based on the Big Giant Dipper. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. If it's a California Adventure, it would be a knockoff of the. It's not an exact, but it is kind of an homage to the Giant Dipper. So last
Okay.
weekend we actually it was this week. It was on Juneteenth. We went down to Santa Cruz and actually went on the Giant Dipper. That is such a great, like I said, it's the ride. It's the only roller coaster that I get off of, and like, like it takes you a little while for the adrenaline to get out of your system. It wasn't just like, wow, that was fun. It was like, my body just went through like a crisis. Like my adrenal glands just went and just dumped into my
You're like,
system.
I just avoided death.
Yes, I justify. I just escaped a saber-toothed tiger. That's what your body is doing. So it's a great ride. If you are ever in California and you like roller coasters and you think you have a good roller coaster wherever you are, you need to go ride the Giant Dipper at the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Let's just say the woman from Michigan got off that ride and her sons kind of had to grab her because her knees were shaking so bad. And she's like, I got to see the point all the time. It's not an issue. She comes off and she's like, yes.
And if you're going to Santa Cruz, you best get cookies.
Oh, yeah. If you're going to go to Santa Cruz, you also have to stop and get cookies at the Santa Cruz Cookie Company because those are the best chocolate chip
Okay.
cookies that I've ever had so far.
And Kirkland.
I've never heard of that.
Santa Cruz Cookie Company?
Yeah. Granted, I don't know when the last time I was in Santa Cruz
Or sorry,
was.
Pacific Cookie Company. Yeah. AC Ray says, cookies. Yeah, no, these are good. These are good. In fact, if you all are, if I'm feeling flush this Christmas, I might just send out some batches of cookies to some of you because I cannot make them as good as Pacific Cookie Company makes them. They're fantastic. Their chocolate chip cookies are like crazy good. Anyway, Corey Wallace says ESO's new patch is only half done. The rest unlocks at a later date this year in a community challenge. Really? Oh, that
Is
I
the
did
patch
not know that. That's kind of shitty.
does the patch fix things? Are they
No,
hiding
it,
fixes
no, it was
behind
supposed to
community?
be. It was supposed to be like their latest expansion.
Oh.
That was the whole thing we talked about last time we were on the show. Is that ESO was having a new expansion this year?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
gotta drag it out
Well,
because they don't have
devil's
anything else.
advocate. They knew they needed to release something, but the patch wasn't done. They needed extra time, but rather than delay the patch, they gave you what they had and said, rest is coming soon.
The community challenge is just a deadline for we need to get this shit.
Yeah,
fixed.
exactly. We will talk about other games that have been delayed for
Oh yeah.
reasons. Here's a link for Disneyland Resorts, Rides, and Entertainment. Yeah. All good. It was fun. Had a great time. Dodgers game. I'm a hardcore Giants fan. First night we were over on the Dodgers side of the stadium. Second night we were on the Giant side of the stadium, and I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but I'm a little hoarse. I was there Saturday night last week. I am still a little hoarse from how loud I was screaming. Was surrounded by Giants fans because we were right next to the Giants bullpen. So there were a lot of Giants fans right around me.
That's good. You're with
And
your people.
because we were behind enemy lines, I was thinking that everybody be a little bit like subdued, like, hey, you're behind enemy lines. No. The freak flags were flying. Everybody who was a Giants fan was like just off their nut, myself included. Ended up meeting a woman in the bathroom who was a Giants fan, and it's like all 3 women were drying their hands. She looks over and goes, "Oh, look, 3 of us together." And it's like, yeah. So we were just kind of chatting as we're walking out of the ladies' room, and she said their husband was a Dodgers fan. And I'm like, pulled her aside, I'm like, okay, I need to know, how do you do this? And she's like, come with me. And we literally went over into a little vestibule area and had a long conversation of the ground rules that she has in her house that has maintained her marriage for 17 years. Being a hardcore Giants fan, married to a hardcore Dodger fan, living in Pasadena, living in Dodger Central. So she ended up exchanging phone numbers with me. And she's like, we're coming up to the city. Do you want to like have dinner or like go to the game together? And it's like, yes. And she goes, next time you're down, you let me know. We'll go to a Dodger game. We'll have a great time. But yeah, so she ended up exchanging numbers with me. And I've been texting back and forth with her for the last week. I don't know how or why that happened, because that stuff never happens to me, but it did. So I have a new best friend.
Good. Yeah.
Yes.
You have a baseball buddy.
Went to a Giants game in LA. And you should remind them that you were scared to wear your Giants jersey. And afraid of what would happen if they found out you were a Giants.
Yeah, and it's true. I only got one crappy comment, which I was surprised at, and it was at the very, very, very last. If I'd have worn the Giants jersey on Dodger side of the stadium on the first night because we won after a grand slam home run,
Oh.
I don't know that they would have felt the same way. But be that as it may, had a great time both nights, and yeah, it was a good time. And
Good.
so thank you all for being so understanding and letting me have a couple of weeks off for 2 completely unrelated things, but it was a good 2 weeks. We have a lot to talk about, which we haven't yet. How was your 2 weeks?
My 2 weeks was really good. I mostly just played games.
What did you play?
I was able to finish up some things finally.
Uh-huh.
On the smaller end, I finished Creepy Redneck Dinosaur Mansion 3, which it's a small game, but it actually ended on a really sweet note, because it basically ended
Really?
with a note from the developer saying, like, all the jokey stuff that's in here is real. This is like the real iteration that we went through trying to figure out what this game would be. We went through all this crazy stuff, and then we're like, what if we just made that part of the game?
Oh,
And it's
that's
like,
hilarious. So Creepy Redneck Dinosaur Mansion 3 is actually the story of the development of Creepy Redneck Dinosaur Mansion 3.
yes, it is.
Oh, that's genius.
And it's like,
now
oh,
I
this is
now I have to play this game.
Yeah.
Have to play this game.
And so, yeah, it on note of like, oh yeah, all the games that you played, there are so many different versions that you've never seen, that you never know existed, and like little avatars of other people, like the writer, the artist, programmer came in and were like, oh, thanks for playing. And so it's on like a really sweet, almost personal note from the developer. That's like, oh, this makes me feel good about playing the game.
Hey, be like Corey Wallace. Click the like button while you're here. Thank you. So what was I going to say about that? Oh, and along those same lines, if I want to like make a small departure on that, if you appreciate games that are in a way breaking the fourth wall, that like are like, hey, this is what it's like to make a game. I don't know if I mentioned it. It's a novel that actually is on the Wall Street Journals or New York Times best 50 novels written in the last 30 years. It's on that list. It is a novel called Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. And it is about 2 people from LA that meet as children who've had kind of damaged relationship, but become friends as children. And they end up going to college together, not together, but at the same college, and end up making a video game together. And then that catapulting them into creating a video game company down in, of all places, Venice Beach, LA, which is like Santa Monica for all intents and purposes, which is kind of in many ways the Silicon Valley of video games is Santa Monica. So it's a really great novel, but it's also really, really interesting in that being in the story, like of somebody actually making a video game and all of the nitty gritty pieces. There's obviously personal stories that are going on around it, but it's sort of the story of creating this video game that turns into a company, but it's also the story of the people that are terribly damaged with from things that have happened in their life who are part of this, that the company becomes a relationship and the relationship becomes their company. They're not romantically involved at all, but it's their friendship. But it's just a really, really good novel. I recommend Tomorrow, and tell me, write it down.
Okay, yeah, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
I've heard of this before. I've seen this book thrown around.
Yes. It is, and if you're not familiar, that is one of the lines from Shakespeare. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day. So it's a really, really good novel. If you want to pick it up, I found it to be a fast read, but most people would probably find it to be an average read. But it is definitely worth reading.
Okay.
So what other games did you play?
Finished finally. Claire Obscura. Expedition 33.
Finally. So now that it's all over, now that it's all done, what do you think?
Definitely best game of the year so far, which I don't envision changing. It ends in like it's so hard to talk about like some of the really fascinating places the story goes without getting into spoilers, but I don't think it's a spoiler to say that it does follow the sort of jokey tradition of JRPGs where you start as a little farm boy in your village and you end killing God. Like that's how classic JRPGs do that. And I don't think it's a spoiler to say that's what happens in this game because the entire premise is you going out on an expedition to kill this like eldritch god woman who's painting numbers on a monolith and killing anyone of that age. So, the premise of let's kill this godly being it's baked into the premise. But what's really interesting is the way that they build that out. Like you begin the story looking at this city that is facing this existential apocalypse, and then they travel to this fantastical continent that's weird and it's populated with a whole bunch of like goofy characters, and then you kind of start to learn more and more about the nature of this world, and as that camera kind of pulls back and you start seeing, okay, this is going on, this is going on, this is going on, like all the like the truth of the world, it becomes a kind of different story, and it's still about this city facing an apocalypse, but it also becomes about a much more specific family drama that is like a family dealing with grief and
Mm-hmm.
how that works, and it just explores those themes in a really interesting way, the way it's able to like tell this Greek tragedy on a large god scale, and then also like the tragedy of these characters that are just swept up in events they don't understand, and like how it balances those two levels and how it brings them together, and how each one like affects the other and feeds off of the other, and the revelations come at a pretty good pace in that, you enter it. When you enter the continent, you're like, what is going on here? It's so confusing. It's so weird. But by the end of the game, you think back and you realize, oh, all of this stuff makes sense. All of the different enemies make sense. Like all of the weird stuff in the game, there's actually a logic behind the world building of it that's not just goodwill building, but it all feeds into the story and into the characters and into their arcs and the tragedy of it all. It's like, oh damn, this is really, really good. And it ends in like the great moments that anime does, where you have people fighting each other while also like shouting philosophy at each other. I can't let you do this because, blah, blah, blah. Oh, retort and uppercut, counterpoint and roundhouse kick. Like, there's a lot of that in the Gundam shows where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, people screaming, your politics are wrong. You cannot do this. How can you do this? As they fight in giant mechs. And this has a very similar ending where it's like people shouting at each other, philosophies about life, and I should live, and like what that means to like live, while they execute like giant combos of magic, and it's really cool. That classic like shouting the themes at you as you fist fight each other. It's
Right.
not subtle, but it's like goddamn entertaining. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is the
It's
climax of the
visceral.
story.
Right. It
It's
makes it feel like it's a climax when it's like like you said, getting down to the heart of the matter, them for having their first actual conversation of whatever conflict is going on between them as they're actually in the middle of fighting each other.
yeah, because like this is going to end. Like
Mhm.
one of these people is going to win, and one of them is going to lose. And it ends. It manages to end in a way that's like there are two endings that you can have, and the split like comes at the very last second. So that's nice. So it's pretty easy to like see both endings. And both endings are like kind of fucked up. It's
Mhm.
like, oh, there's an ending that I think is clearly the better ending, but from what I've read online, it's pretty divisive, and not divisive as in, oh, I think this is good, I think this is bad, but divisive as in a lot of people choose ending A and a lot of people choose ending B. Like it's a 50-50 split. And it's like, oh, that's a good ending when you can kind of have this split that 50% of the people who beat it say, no, this is the one you should choose. No, this is the one you should choose. And it works really well. It's a kind of ending that definitely like, oh, I'm gonna think about this for a while. Like
Mhm.
it's meaty, like good thematic meat.
Mhm.
It's a really impressive game. Although I
Yeah.
will say, to not like slather praise all over it, uh Act 3 definitely feels like, oh, I can kind of see you ran out of some budget.
Oh,
Like
really?
you hit the limit because
Oh, that's
act
a horrible
well,
feeling.
act 1 and 2 are like you have the way that the world expands is pretty well done. It's like, oh, you go through a while, you hit the end of act 2, there's a big narrative beat that happens, and then a next part of the world opens up. And so you explore that next part of the world, you get to the end of act 2, there's a big narrative beat, and then you kind of get access to the whole world. Except narratively, act 3 is like 20 seconds long. Like the end of act 2 opens the end of act 2 is basically let's go to the end game. And so when act 3 begins, it's like, hey, let's go finish the game. But there's still a whole bunch of the world left to explore.
Mhm.
Then it's just it feels like they built out more of the world than they had story to justify you going through it. So when you get to act 3, the story is, hey, just go beat the game. But there's still all these different places to explore. And so as I went to explore them, I realized, oh, all this stuff is way above my level. This is like way, way above my level. I should not be here, but there isn't really any way to like tell that to the player. It doesn't really give you an indication that this is exceedingly past your ability. And so for a while I was just banging my head against these bosses that were beyond my capabilities until I just decided, okay, I'm just going to go beat the game.
Mhm.
Like, I'm not going to bother grinding out levels to go play this other content. I just want to see the end of the game.
Mhm.
And it does that well, but it definitely feels like, oh, we built more stuff. We can't narratively justify it, but we want to put it in the game. So we'll just put it in the game and have it be like end game stuff. This is stuff you can do after you beat the game.
Right. Yeah. It's a bit like extra tracks on a Beatles album. It's like these are all the half songs that we made that were really interesting, but we didn't actually, stick them in the actual album.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
I'm sure there's probably good world building and stuff in there, but I don't want to grind out 20 levels just to see it.
Yeah. It's a good way to actually put that content in there without it being half baked within the rest of the game, or making it um
Ex-
making it unnecessarily long, like make
yes.
it feel like padding, which just makes you, resent it.
Yes. And that is nice. It does not feel padded in length.
Mhm. So what else did you play?
I played a puzzle game that the rest of the world seems to love called Blueprints.
Mhm.
And when this game came out, it got like rave reviews, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, this thing is masterful. This thing is awesome." It might be shit, but it might also be great.
Okay.
So, my issue with it is that it's a roguelike puzzle game. The way the story is basically, hey, this kid inherits a mansion, but in order to get that inheritance, he has to find the secret 46th room of the mansion. The
Mhm.
catch is that the layout of the mansion changes every single day.
Oh.
And this is the roguelike element of it, where you get a 5x9 rectangular grid. You start at the bottom and you want to get to the top. Every time you move to a new tile, it's very board game like. So every time you move to a new tile, you basically draw 3 cards, and these are the rooms that it can be. Some of those rooms might have positive effects. Some of those rooms might have negative effects. Some of those rooms might have 2 doors that lead to other rooms. Some of those rooms might have 1 door. So it's a lot of, I'm going to go to the next tile, draft a room. Then I'm going to do the next tile, draft another room. Next one, draft another room. Next one, oh, this door is locked. I need a key. Okay, let me draft a different room that might have a key in it. Oh, this one room I can't draft because it requires gems. So it's a lot of trying to figure out the strategy of drafting rooms that have resources in the beginning so that you have gems and you have keys to unlock future rooms as you get higher and higher. The problem is that since the rooms have like different number of doors, very often you'll draft a dead end where it's like, okay, I'm going to go up here and oh, this one has 2 locked doors, but I don't have any keys, so I can't continue. So I'm going to go back to the start drafting up a different direction. And oh, I want to go to the left, but I can only go straight. And there's a room in the way. So now that door is blocked. I can't go any further.
Mhm.
And the same thing happens. And so, oh, I can't explore the house because the random room draws kind of locked me into a dead end. Time to restart. So you call it a day, you restart, and you start from the beginning at the bottom, and you start drafting rooms again, trying to get to the top.
So it's a bit like, those old tile games, those little, like, you would get them in, like, cheap plastic toys where you had to move the tiles back and forth to get them in a, in numerical order.
Oh, yeah, kind of like that. Yeah. Um, and so my issue with it is that there's an interesting as I've gotten deeper into it, I hated this at first because I kept thinking, I just want to explore this house. I keep getting stuck in dead ends. This is bullshit. And then I have to restart.
Mhm.
I went online, basically looked at a couple walkthroughs that said, hey, you should look at these rooms, focus on these things, do this. And having that sense of direction kind of helped me get through that early game.
Mhm.
And I've now seen enough of it that I kind of see the deeper stuff that's going on. That there's a larger story here that is more than just boy inherits house, has to find secret room. There's like, oh, there's an interesting political story here, like some political resistance, and then like a missing author like there's really some deep, dark family secrets going on here. Oh, this is actually apparently the end of the room. This looks like the antechamber, which is where you want to get to in the beginning. Oh, to continue up, you must
Oh,
go
no, no, no,
down.
no. I'm not
No,
gonna, I'm gonna go back.
these are good clues. These are good clues.
No, look at the banana. Look at the banana, Nick.
But my problem with
As
all
I
of
was,
this,
what you just saw in this video was actually 16 minutes out of a 34 minutes video. So
yeah, well, this is like a what, a full playthrough? Yeah, that's you're not doing that day one. Like this is clearly someone who has played a lot, who has gotten some permanent upgrades, and those permanent upgrades are nice. But what's ultimately so frustrating about the game is that has I learned more about what's going on in this world? Has I learned more? Uh-oh.
sorry about that.
Are you there? Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Has I learned more about what's going on in the world? Has I learned more about how to navigate this house? For example, there's a magnifying glass that you can get, and that magnifying glass lets you look closer at some piece of paper. There's a commissary room where you can buy items, and in that commissary room, there's a corkboard. On that corkboard, there's a piece of paper that has a password that is scratched out, and I suspect if I took the magnifying glass and looked at that scratch, I might be able to interpret what that password is. I don't know for sure, because in order to solve that mystery, I need the magnifying glass and I need the commissary room. Played through a run, found the magnifying glass, never got a chance to draft the commissary room. So, oops, can't investigate that lead. Next day, drafted the commissary room, never found the magnifying glass.
Oh, so you have
Oops,
to find each of the bits of resources every single time.
every time your items reset and the rooms reset.
Oh, that sucks.
Third time, found the magnifying glass, could draft the commissary room, but the commissary room takes a gem to draft, and I didn't have any gems. So, fuck, I can't do it then. And that's the type of thing that keeps happening, where I want to explore this world. I want to follow these interesting leads that I have, but the RNG of the game becomes a roadblock that prevents me from following the threads that I want to.
And the magnifying glass is in a different place.
It's in a
every time?
different room
Oh,
every single time.
God, no. Yeah, no.
And it's like, I want to see what's going on because I have found secret locations that are like, oh, this is really fucking cool. And I found things that are like, wait, I saw this in a picture and now I see this in a statue. What if I interact with them in different ways? Oh, I just unlocked a different room. And that sense of discovering that, like, oh, I saw something over there and I see something over here. I'm going to connect the dots and that gives me access to something else. That's thrilling. Like, that sense of discovery is really compelling. But I can't follow up any of the things I want to because of the RNG. I'm constantly fighting the RNG. I've seen a lot of suggestions. Like, one of the first tips that the game gives you and that people online give you is have a goal in mind. Your goal shouldn't be get to the end of the game, get to the antechamber at the top. Your goal should be investigate, the commissary. But you should always have a plan B in case you can't do plan A. And you
Right.
should always have a plan C in case you can't do plan B. And in my head, I think that is fucking bullshit. I should be able to follow plan A because that's what makes me want to play the game. I want to follow plan A's thread. I want to see where that takes me. And the game keeps getting in its own way. And so I think there is something cool here. I think there is an interesting, larger mystery, and like the ways that the different rooms of the house interact with each other are really fucking cool. But I can't actually interact with all the cool stuff because the RNG just prevents it from happening. As I've gotten farther into the game, I've been able to collect more and more items. I know that there's a laboratory room that lets me combine items to create something new. I've seen the laboratory one time. And so in all these future runs where I've been collecting, 10 items, I haven't found the laboratory. So I haven't been able to interact with that thing. It's like, oh my fucking God, just let me have fun. Let me enjoy the fucking game. But I can't because the RNG keeps blocking me. It keeps preventing me from doing the most interesting things that I want to do. And so this could be a great game, but it's also a fucking shit game.
Mhm.
It manages to be both great and awful at the same time because the way it's designed prevents me from seeing all the great stuff in it. So yeah,
It's a game that gets in the way of fun as opposed to sparking fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
All right. Well, that's a
really
shame.
disappointed.
Okay. What else did you play?
That's pretty much it.
Okay. So let's see. What did I play? I have played Elden Ring Night Rain. I finally got through the first boss. So now all of the
Nice.
bosses are open to me. I have attempted the boss that everybody says is the easiest, which is Augur. I tried it once, got my ass very promptly handed to me. Thinking of maybe trying another class.
Who are
I've been
you
sticking with
generally playing as?
Deadeye.
Okay.
I'm thinking of actually trying the barbarian class.
I think the coolest thing about Night Rain is that it makes it really easy to switch classes. In Elden Ring proper, once you go down a skill tree, it's
Yeah.
it's kind of
That's
hard
it.
to
Yeah,
reset.
you're not making any commitment to anything. In fact,
Yeah.
you don't even have to make the commitment before you leave. It's like as you are match made, it brings you to a screen where you can choose which class you want to, so that you can build a balanced team based on what other people are playing. Now, it happened to be when I finally did get through the first boss, the trust or whatever, start with the TRI. When I finally beat that guy, it was a barbarian and 2 Deadeye, which seems absolutely ludicrous, but it worked and it ended up being pretty easy. Now, I don't know if it was because the barbarian was really good or because the other Deadeye was really good, but we kicked ass. And I have a feeling it has to do with the skill of the barbarian. That being said, I also did a pretty good job, and it was something I realized after playing that match, that one of the key things you need to recognize as a Deadeye, because I was really focusing on that as Deadeye, I can res people remotely. So when someone went down, I kind of made a point of trying to be that person who was trying to raise that other person. When I found, at least this time when I was successful, I didn't do that because the other guy was like, the other two were on top of each other. I had a Deadeye who was actually could res from a distance. And then we had a barbarian who could easily res either of us if we went down. So what I made a point of doing is I noticed that Deadeyes can really very quickly grab aggro. So what I would do is I would, when somebody went down, grab aggro from from whoever the boss, whatever we were fighting, and get it to chase me. Then I would and the other thing I learned, take your targeting off of the mob, because if you don't, then essentially your camera is shifting and you can't essentially get away very easily. But you take the targeting off of the mob and then just run in circles. Because no matter what it is, doesn't matter which enemy it is, it can't hurt you if you run in circles. if it can't get to you, it can't kill you. So that's
you can't hurt me if you can't catch me.
Yeah, you can't hurt me if you can't catch me. And it's like, you don't need to learn any kind of patterns of the way they act. Just run and keep the aggro. It's like, and when they get far enough behind you, shoot them again, and then keep running so that the other two could get to each other, res them, give them time to heal up, and then the barbarian comes in and takes it off of me. So that's ended up being kind of an effective way that I realized that I was trying too hard to be a hero when I just needed to be a coward.
Yeah, I mean, like the aggro maintenance, aggro, like controlling that is a big part of
It is
that
a
game.
very big part of that game. Knowing who's getting hit, knowing that
Yeah.
you're the one that's getting hit, and then taking advantage of the fact that A, it's not on you, and B, that you have some ability to be able to just whack at him from behind until you can grab aggro off of it, and then somebody else whacks him from behind until he gets aggro off of it. And it kind of spreads the damage among the team, number one. But number two is you can get aggro to give somebody else other time to heal, to raise somebody, to switch weapons, whatever they need to do, if you are all sharing aggro around the circle. So that was awesome, and I enjoyed that. In fact, even in the boss battle, like the actual boss, the third night boss battle, that's what I did. Is when the main three-headed dog splits into three dogs, I just got aggro of one of them and just ran around a circle until, kept hitting them, running around, hit them again, keep running, hit them again, keep running. And then eventually the timer runs out and they come back into this single. And then you can really start whacking on them.
Yeah.
Killing the dogs when they're separated is not the point. You can't kill the dogs. The whole point is just to survive the three dogs. Don't let any two of those dogs gang up on one person, because that way it just becomes impossible. But just essentially waiting out that timer to them to come back together, and then you can start actually working as a team on that single enemy. So, fun game. I really want to play it all the time. My life is not letting me play it all the time. Fun fact, when I beat I finally got through that first boss, I was actually at work on Friday. Nobody else was in the office, and I had already done all my work, and I was just waiting for the mail to show up. And I'm like, I'm fucking, I now take this in my backpack to work. So nice. I just played it at work on the I bought a gaming laptop for my work because it had the processor that allows me to be able to use things like Photoshop and other high-end programs. It's also a gaming laptop, so it has a great GPU.
Yeah, that's nice. Nice.
And it looks great on my laptop. Anyway, so that's what I played. The other thing that I played, which is going to sound kind of unusual because it is a 2023 game. It is not the most recent game in the series, but I'm playing it for a reason. I started playing the campaign of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3.
You didn't play Modern Warfare or Modern Warfare 2? How did you know what was going on? How did you keep up with the lore?
It's a campaign. So honestly, there is a story that I'm coming into the middle of. I don't know who this Dmitry Marakov guy is. Don't fucking care. Just want to get through it.
just
all I know is
down my sights.
Blow up the helicopters. Blow up the hell. You want 3 helicopters blown up? I'm gonna blow up 3 helicopters. Cool. The cutscenes are gorgeous. It's wonderful. It's fantastic. But it's Call of Duty. You got one job. You got one job. That's kill something or blow it up. So I've been playing that for a reason. And should I mention it? Because the paperwork isn't signed.
I don't know. Although now you've teased it.
I mean, it's not. I mean, I haven't been told it's not something. So,
it's fine.
The boy got a job offer on Wednesday, right before Juneteenth, or was it Juneteenth? No, I think it was Wednesday. So we celebrated on Juneteenth, which is why we went down to Santa Cruz to celebrate. He got a job offer that unless something happens in the next 30 hours, he's going to sign. They said, take the weekend to think about it. It's like he knew he wanted to do it. I made him go through all of the paperwork and ask for the employee manual and everything, but he got a job offer from Sledgehammer. So he is going to be working on the next Sledgehammer game, which is coming out in 2027. I'm assuming it's going to be another Modern Warfare. So he hasn't played a Call of Duty and probably longer than I've played a Call of Duty. And he's like, I probably should play one of those. I'm like, yeah, you probably should know what at least the last game of this series was that they made, because we're going to be working on the next one.
Wait, was Modern Warfare Sledgehammer? I thought Modern Warfare was Infinity Ward.
Modern Warfare 3 was Sledgehammer.
Then what is
I had to look it up.
Infinity Ward working on?
I had to look it up, but Infinity Ward was
Because
doing
Black Ops is Treyarch's
I think it's
sub-series.
Advanced Warfare.
No,
Let me see.
Advanced Warfare came out like a decade ago.
No, and that was Advanced Warfare was Treyarch.
That what? No, Advanced Warfare
Oh,
wasn't.
so it was Sledgehammer.
Infinity Ward.
Was Sledgehammer.
Wait,
Advanced
what?
Warfare
No, it
was
was Infinity Ward, motherfucker. The goddamn Call of Duty series has
Call
gotten.
of Duty series developed by developer.
Let's look at Wikipedia.
Okay. All right. Let me see. Okay, so it looks like 2022 was Modern Warfare 2 that was Infinity Ward. Modern Warfare 3 was Sledgehammer Games. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is Treyarch. Call of Duty Black Ops 7, which is this year, is Treyarch. And so it's Treyarch Infinity Ward. Here's how the cadence work. Treyarch Infinity Ward Sledgehammer. Treyarch Infinity Wards. And it was supposed to be Sledgehammer between Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War and Call of Duty Vanguard, but Treyarch had delays, let's just say, and couldn't meet their release date. So Infinity Ward had to go early. Sorry.
No, Treyarch went early.
No. Let's say no, Treyarch didn't go early. It was Treyarch Infinity Ward Sledgehammer, Treyarch Infinity Ward Sledgehammer, Treyarch Infinity Ward Treyarch Sledgehammer. Sledgehammer had to go a year early, release a year early, because Treyarch couldn't get their game out. So
that would be the Vanguard?
Yeah, that would be between Black Ops Cold War and Vanguard. Vanguard was supposed to come out before Black Ops Cold War. But so let's see what the Treyarch Infinity Ward Sledgehammer, Treyarch Infinity Ward, and it was supposed to be.
It looks like Treyarch Infinity Ward. It looks like it was supposed to be Sledgehammer. That Vanguard was supposed to come out in 2020.
Maybe it was Infinity Ward needed to come out. No, but maybe it was Infinity Ward was one of them. Anyway, they got off of the cadence, and that's why everything got weird. That's why Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 7 are following each other, and they're both Treyarch, because it's kind of like their penance for blowing the cadence a few years ago. So anyway, the next game that is coming out is probably, don't know. I'm guessing off of reading off the Wikipedia, is probably going to be the 2026 is going to be Infinity Ward. We know this. 2027 is Sledgehammer. We know this. Infinity Wards do Modern Warfares. Well, and so do Sledgehammer.
They did, except that Sledgehammer did Modern Warfare 3. Which is so weird, because Infinity Ward did Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2.
Right. And Sledgehammer, maybe that was it. That Sledgehammer had to do Modern Warfare 3. Yeah, I don't know. It was somebody screwed up that wasn't Sledgehammer. Sledgehammer had to step in and cover their ass. So, bottom line is Infinity Ward tend to do Modern Warfare, and Sledgehammer did Advanced Warfare. They did World War II. They kind of do the kind of like, odd ones. Yeah, the weird ones.
Oh, they did do Advanced Warfare.
Yes, they did do Advanced War. I knew that.
Oh, wait, that's Advanced Warfare. I'm thinking Infinite Warfare. That was Infinity Ward.
Yes.
I don't think I
Um,
played a until Black Ops 6. I hadn't played a Call of Duty since Infinite Warfare in 2016.
yeah, I don't think I played. Man, I think the last one I played was maybe Modern Warfare 2. I don't
Oh
think
yeah,
I
yeah.
played Black
Let's for people's reference here. I'm going to share my screen. I'm looking at the Wikipedia release date for all of the Call of Duty games.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking at. Actually, let me remove that. Let me show mine because that way I can zoom in on it. There we go.
Yeah, we'll cancel the channel. That's cool.
There we go. Now I'm gonna. There we go. So that way you can actually see it. All right, there's what we're looking at right now. So yeah, the first Sledgehammer game was Advanced Warfare.
No, they started as a support studio on the original Modern Warfare
Modern Warfare
3.
3, number 3.
Yeah, number 3.
As opposed to I.
I didn't realize that Treyarch had been making games back in 2006. Call of
Oh,
Duty 3.
yes. No, I remember when Call of Duty. Yeah, this was. Yeah, I remember when that was the big thing is that Treyarch is taking over, and then Infinity Ward and Treyarch were going to trade off.
Yeah. Oh,
And
I
then they
thought.
brought on Sledgehammer, and that became a third one. So it was Treyarch Infinity Ward Sledgehammer, Treyarch
Yeah.
Infinity Ward Sledgehammer, Treyarch Infinity Ward Treyarch Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward Sledgehammer Treyarch. So it kind of got jacked at some point. So
Yeah, around Modern Warfare.
but if you look at the Sledgehammer games,
Black
it's
Ops.
Call of Duty Vanguard, Call of Duty Modern Warfare III, Call of Duty World War II. They do kind of the one-offs as opposed to either Modern Warfare or Black Ops.
Well, it's interesting. Like Infinity Ward found their sub-series with
Mhm.
Modern Warfare. Treyarch found their sub-series with Black Ops,
Ops.
right? Because like they started with World at War, then they did Black Ops, Black Ops 2, then they just did Black Ops over and over again.
Mhm.
But yeah, Sledgehammer hadn't quite found their
Niche.
sub-series.
Yeah, they
their
haven't found their niche.
Yeah.
And which is fine because they've actually been the one to been able to step in and assist, but moreover, they're
big
they
support
can
studio.
do like the one-off interesting ones, like Call of Duty World War II. I believe I played that one.
Really?
Yeah, I believe I did. That was the last Call of Duty I played.
I don't remember much about World War II.
It was a World War II shooter. I liked it. I like World War II shooters. It reminds me of Battlefield Bad Company. I like historical shooters. Advanced Warfare, not so much. Black Ops, not so much. But hey, you bring me a historical shooter, World War II, World War I, abso-fucking-lutely, I'm totally there for it. So I'm.
Okay, so yeah, what did you think of Modern Warfare 3?
Okay, let's actually talk about Modern Warfare 3.
I'm sorry. Let me correct myself. What did you think of Modern Warfare?
Modern Warfare.
I.
So Modern Warfare is I'm just playing the campaign, and so far it's the campaign. I haven't actually played the multiplayer because I have a feeling that Chris is going to be hired for the campaign since he's an AI guy. Kind of defeats the point. I don't know if any of the Call of Duties you do the same thing that Battlefield did in the last, or maybe it was 2 Battlefields ago.
No,
where they had the
2042.
bots that would populate into a multiplayer game to fill up spaces so you didn't have to wait so long for matchmaking. And then as more people would come into the game, they would essentially sub out the bot for a real player.
I have not played Call of Duty multiplayer for a long time. I don't know what modes they have.
Yeah. So, also, and this is something that was announced on the 6th of June, Call of Duty Black Ops 7, which is being developed by Treyarch and Ravensoft, they have announced that the campaign will have co-op multiplayer. So, or multiplayer co-op. And that's in the campaign, not I mean, obviously the co-op, you have co-op
Yeah,
in
there's
the
teams,
multiplayer, and the
and
co-op is you're trying to kill the other team. But I don't know if they had that in 6, but they definitely are going to have it in 7. So there
they
may be something there as well. Have no idea what this is going to be about.
yeah. I played Black Ops 6 like a couple
Mhm.
of months ago when it came to Game Pass, and it didn't have co-op.
Yeah. So 7 is going to have, and this is announced, it was announced on June 6th that I came across because, of course, researching, I'm like, oh, that's very interesting, is campaign co-op.
Is Modern Warfare 3 on Game Pass yet?
I actually just bought it. It was on sale. It was
Because I
like
remember after playing
15
Black
bucks.
Ops 6, I thought, oh man, I want to play some more Call of Duty because it just felt good. Uh oh no, I think Modern Warfare 3 is on Game Pass, but Modern Warfare I is not on Game Pass. And Modern Warfare I is not on Game Pass. So
What
I didn't
Modern Warfare III is?
Modern Warfare I is, but Modern Warfare II is Modern Warfare II is
Interesting.
Modern Warfare I is
Modern Warfare
maybe
I, which
shit. I
is, well,
should
just
just
Modern Warfare. That's from 2014. That was Sledgehammer.
you know what?
Oh, that's Advanced Warfare. Sorry.
I should just go to Xbox.
2019 is Infinity Ward. 2019 was Modern Warfare I.
Okay, I'm looking at PC Game Pass. Anyways, I couldn't play Modern Warfare I because it hadn't come to Game Pass yet, and I was like, I can't start the trilogy. I can't skip the trilogy. I can't miss out on all of that intricate world building and character development.
What?
And so I was like, I'll wait until I comes to Game
Yeah,
Pass.
no, that's not an issue. Um, uh, this also a good game. I'm pulling up stuff. All right. So, I am playing the campaign. The campaign is, of course, fantastic. I mean, it looks good. I have no idea who any of these characters are because, obviously I've missed all of the intricate nuance of the backstory. But apparently this Amerikov guy is awful. And you end up playing, both Russians and Americans. And so you different chapters of it are switching back between the Call of Duty ally guys and the Russians. So it's interesting. And I'm going to continue to play it just so that I have a sense of what's going on. Obviously, he's going to continue to play it so he has a sense of what's going on. And then we'll probably be playing some multiplayer so that he understands what the multiplayer is all about. But yeah, so it's it looks like a fun game, and it's shooty, explodey, kill. That's what do you do? Yeah. So those are the two games that I have been playing, and of course I've been playing all in whole. Whenever right before I go to bed, because why not? Or if I'm bored. Still, I'm like at level 180 right now. Still. That game is surprisingly easy to not spend money on. And I know I'm at level 170 and you really don't need to spend money. Are you talking, Nick? There you
Yes,
go.
I had muted myself.
So it's surprisingly easy to not spend money on it, which is unique for a free to play game. But yeah, it's a good game. Anyway, so anything else before? Oh, we forgot to do the music. I'm gonna have
No,
to
I
add
thought the
the
music is for news.
No, we haven't played the intro music. I'm
Oh,
gonna
the
have to
intro
add
music.
that after the fact.
Okay.
Fudge. All right. Well, shall we hit the news?
Yeah.
All right, let's hit the news. This is the GameHounds news, the news, views, and commentary of the week in gaming with gamer Edie and Nick Nicola. And our first item is what?
There was E3, not E3. There was a whole bunch of shit that happened in the past couple weeks. There was Summer Game Fest. There was the Future Game Show. There was the PlayStation State of Play. There was the Xbox showcase. Everyone has a different name for their thing: a fest, a showcase, a state. I say let's start with Xbox because I think they kind of had the biggest news.
Okay.
I've got a page on IGN that has all of the information. Let me share that.
Riveting.
But
Riveting.
the thing is, I don't want to go through all of this one at a time because if I do, we will be here all day.
Okay. All right.
So I'm just gonna like kind of skip over some stuff that I found personally interesting. If anyone in the chat like wants to see a trailer or like wants to comment on it, let me know. So I guess first of all,
while you do that, I have to, now that all the people in the room in the place have left, I need to get something to drink and I need to go to the bathroom. So I will be right back.
Okay.
All
right. So yeah, at the end of this okay, wait, let's actually get to the top. Yeah, we had talked about they announced Call of Duty Black Ops 7. They didn't really say anything else about it at the showcase. So Silk Song, I guess, is coming out this holiday, but again, they didn't have anything to show for that. The one thing that kind of caught me was when Phil Spencer was teasing 2026. And he was like, oh, it's going to be a big year for Xbox. We're going to have a new Forza, a new Fable, a new Gears of War. And he teased like, oh, the return of a classic that's been with us since the beginning, which is Halo, like, obviously. But like, when I look at that lineup, I think Gears of War and Halo both feel like IPs that have kind of largely run their course. And I don't know what else they can do, what else they have to offer, especially Gears of War. The last game, I think it was 5, ended on a cliffhanger. And now, 4 years after that cliffhanger, they're coming out with a game that does not resolve that cliffhanger. And that just feels like, what are you doing with this IP? What are you doing with this series? It feels like they were going in one direction and then kind of lost confidence and just started going someplace else and never quite recovered. So I don't know what they're doing. Forza, always good. Forza is like a good stable thing. Fable has been gone long enough that I feel like when you bring it back, you can do something new with it. But like 50% of the stuff that was meant to get us hyped up, to me at least, feels old. And I don't think that's what they wanted. I think the other thing, let's see what else stood out for me. I'm just scrolling through a bunch of this. Mundong Two Hearts is a trailer that stood out for me, if only because I don't really know what to make of all this. It's really weird. Let me mute it
and put it into
and full
yeah.
screen. Okay. Yeah, so it's like a third-person shooter from South Korea. Let's skip to some of the action. It looks part Metal Gear, but also part Splinter Cell. You play as like this guy, this soldier, and then this teenage girl. And then at a certain point, you start fighting monsters and alien stuff. And if I had complained that Halo and Gears of War didn't inspire me or excite me because they felt old, this looks new. This is different. I don't know what this is. I don't know what to expect. It could be good or could be awful, but the weirdness in the complete surprise of it, I think, really interested me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this looks interesting to me. Very interesting. It's very, like you said, old school. It's something that we haven't seen in a long time, that kind of third person, but like
yeah, it's like a mix of
military, but also switching out to like teenage girl.
Yeah, it's like a mix of stealth action, but also straight
Final
action.
Fantasy kind of esque, like
Yeah.
switching, like playing a teenager, or very
So,
strange. By the way,
interesting. That's coming 2026.
when I said that I wanted to get something to drink because the house has cleared out, so that's what we're drinking.
Okay.
We're drinking a White Claw. You know
Very,
what White Claw
very,
is, right?
yeah, it's like a very light cocktail.
Hard
Not,
seltzer.
not even a cocktail. Yeah, hard seltzer.
So
Hard seltzer.
somebody requested it at work to order White Claws.
At work.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, our whole kitchen is just nothing but beer and wine. Not nothing, but there's a ton of beer and wine and White Claw. And the White Claw's been sitting in the refrigerator for almost a year, more than a year. And I think they had a couple and then that was it. So they were just sitting, taking up space in the refrigerator. And I'm finally like, fuck, I'm just going to get rid of these White Claws. Nobody's drinking them. So I
take 'em
just brought them
home.
all home. But it occurred to me, White Claw. So, well, it's like, hold on.
Mud
White
Dang
Claw?
in Nick accent. Mud Dong.
Modong. White Claw looks suspiciously like Celsius. The can.
Okay, I don't know what Celsius is.
I have it downstairs, but you can look it up. It looks enough like a Celsius can that you might think it's Celsius. And that is the preferred energy drink that the girl child drinks an alarming amount of. Loves
it's
to
like a
drink one right
monster.
before bed. And it's like, are you kidding me? And she looks at me like I'm insane. I'm like, no, don't drink a Celsius before bed. It has more caffeine than my morning coffee. But, these kids these days are just soaked in caffeine. So anyway, I'm trying to consume the White Claw as fast as I can because I'm afraid that the girl might look at that and go, oh, energy drink. It's like, well, it's a different kind of energy. I would not want to be the one that got the girl child drunk. It might be the end of our relationship.
Okay, well, keep that in mind. That's a teaser for next week's episode.
Yeah, I got the girl child drunk. No, I did not. I'm not going to be that person that gets the 13-year-old sauce. By the way, tomorrow's is a girl child's birthday. She turns 14.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so she goes from one miserable age to the next one. Good Lord. My review of 13-year-old girls. They're awful. Oh my God, they're awful. Oh my God. They're little fucking sociopaths. I mean, truly, like they have absolutely no sense of other people in the room. It's like they could suck the joy out of everything. Let's talk about what I really thought of Disneyland. The girl child sucked the joy out of fucking Disneyland. Oh my God. It was all day. All I was trying to do was keep her in a good mood.
Did she not like it?
Disneyland.
She doesn't ride. She doesn't care about roller coasters.
No, it's just that she's hungry now. Well, no, you cannot have a Dole Whip at 9:30 in the morning. Well, I don't know why. That's what I want right now. Well, we have to wait until lunch. Well, when's lunch? 12:30. Well, why is it at 12:30? I'm hungry now. It's like, because we have our reservations at the Blue Bayou that I've been trying very hard for the last 6 months to get for your father, because that's his favorite place to eat. Well, I don't want to eat there. I want to have blank blank. Well, it's your father's special day that I worked very hard to get reservations for. I pulled strings to get reservations for this. I got up at 6 o'clock in the morning yesterday so I could get this reservation for your father. I don't want that. Well, have you ever had Blue Bayou? No, but I don't want it.
So it's
well, what ride would you like to go on, girl child? What would make you happy right now, girl child? Nothing. Okay, then not a lot I can do.
AC Ray says middle school is the worst U.S. school.
It truly is. Actually, she's about to be a senior. I mean, a freshman in high school.
Oh, yeah.
She was just at the cutoff. It's like if she'd have been born a week later, she would have been entering 8th grade now. But because
Hmm.
she was born a week early, she is the youngest in her class. When she graduates high school, she's going to graduate at 17.
Huh.
Assuming I don't kill her before that.
Assuming she survives. Okay.
Anyway, that's my
Back to games.
review of 13-year-old girls. Let's hope 14's better. I don't think so, but we'll see. Anyway, thank you for the link. Thank you for the link to White Claw.
Oh yeah, we have to.
Yeah. Games.
So okay, Mundong. Yeah,
Mungdong. Mongdong.
what is it? Oh, Mundang. No, Mudang.
Mudong.
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 Mudong too hard.
Mudong. Anyways,
Mudong.
the other one that stood out to me
Mudong.
was No Ghosts, and that was loud. This looks kind of cool because it's part musical, has the characters will sing and dance. Part,
Okay.
one of those cleaner upper games like Power Wash Simulator. You get a gun that allows you to, clean up the trash in this house. You paint it, you get to rearrange furniture.
Okay, and you essentially bring this area back to life with your little cleanup gun, which I want for real life. Oh my god, do I want
It's
for real life?
a little spooky
Oh,
because
so
you start dealing with ghosts and alternate dimensions.
oh, okay. All right.
Oh, wait,
So there's more going on than just cleaning stuff up.
Also musical, don't forget.
What the fuck kind of psychotic drug trip is this game? With the happy dappy little like musical while the tentacles are coming out and dragging a boat underwater.
Yep. So yeah, there are no ghosts in the Grand.
Okay, all right. 2026. I am morbidly curious about that one.
Ditto.
AC Ray says, I salute youth that can't be happy in corporate Disney celebrating Juneteenth under the banner of racist to enslaved animators and made automated Lincoln. All right. Point taken. But here's the thing. Disenfranchised, unhappy youth has no clue about any of that. And to be quite honest, is such a sociopath, she wouldn't care. Like, racism doesn't bother me. It's like, because she's 13. If it doesn't personally affect her or her favorite K-pop stars, she could care less.
There was, okay. She likes K-pop. Maybe you can distract her.
So much.
Shiny object. There's like a new K-pop series that came out on Netflix. That's apparently pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's like called K-pop Demon Hunters. It's like an animated series or movie about K-pop singers fighting demons.
I am absolutely going to watch that. At least the first episode to see if she might be interested in it. Yeah. She's anyway.
Oh, okay.
Love that kid. I love that kid. But I have to be constantly reminded by Chris every once in a while when she's like really like just deep in the like oblivious, just miserable 13-year-old. It's every once in a while I'll just be like, she was cute once, right? He goes, oh, she was so cute. She was younger. She was such a great kid. I'm like, I missed all that. He goes, I feel bad that you missed all the fun and now you're getting just the miserable 13-year-old. I'm like, yeah. It has Twice singing it. Oh, the K-pop. Oh, yes. All right. I do know what Twice is now. Go figure. And aespa and New Jeans and Eves and all the other, yeah. I really wish.
Are those characters of the new Star Wars movie?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so next on the
Okay, next on is a game from Don't Nod, who is mainly known for Life is Strange, but also
Mhm.
did like Banishers, Ghost of New Eden. They did Remember Me a long time ago. Oh,
Mhm.
little. They do like really interesting high concept sci-fi and fantasy stuff when they're not doing young teenage girls coming of age. Uh, and Aphelion is like one of those high concept sci-fi stories. It's about a woman that crash lands on a planet, and it looks like it's a lot of Uncharted-esque, you know, working your way, platforming through ships falling apart and environmental disasters, which I'm always down for someone climbing on a structure as it's falling apart. I'm a
Mhm.
sucker for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've so Don't Nod doing that. I'm immediately interested.
Mhm.
They have a little tease at the end of like spooky alien thing. You know,
So
guy
the
guy
face is supposed to stay at all?
the what?
Okay. The face is supposed to say it all?
Oh yeah. You know,
Yeah.
he's just looking up at something as it glows red. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that seems cool.
I'm intrigued. Also, I really do like Donod.
Yeah,
I
Don't
know that
Nod does
they
interesting
there's
stuff.
been, middling ground about what they, about their stuff. I have always respected Don't Nod because they're willing to take they don't have a lane. They're willing to jump out of their
Yes.
lane for a compelling story. And
Yes.
I give them max credit for that they are not afraid to take a risk.
And I think Don't Nod is what makes me most interested in this game. I want to see what they do.
Yep.
They had a really long deep dive into Clockwork Revolution. I'm not going to go over that because it was long.
Mhm.
Looks interesting.
Mhm.
Chronos: The New Dawn, again interesting. But it looks like a sci-fi shooter. The Keeper is what stood out to me. This
Oh.
is the next Double Fine. Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, yeah, it's alright. Double Fine. Always well, not always. Most of the time always interesting, most of the time good.
Yeah, Double Fine. And in this case, it's a fantasy about a sentient lifehouse.
It looks very, very much like a Double Fine game already.
hmm
Oh, yeah, totally Double Fine.
Lighthouse grows legs and goes on an adventure.
Okay. Man, Tim Schafer must just take so much drugs. Seriously, that guy has dropped acid a lot.
Oh,
He
this
is
whole
deep
game
in the
looks like an
in the
acid trip.
ketamine. Ah, vitamin K, Mr. Vitamin K.
Yeah, this looks like classic Double Fine,
Yeah,
where it's like weird,
brilliant and
interesting
weird and
fantasy.
mind-bending.
Yeah,
Think outside the box. Don't expect anything because it's all gonna change.
yeah.
You cannot predict what this is.
And so
Okay,
appropriately, it's about a lighthouse, and it is called
the
Keeper.
key. Okay.
And
October.
this one is
Right,
out this year.
right before Halloween, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
That might be
Indiana
my
Jones
Halloween costume,
DLC, Tony
depending.
Hawk stuff.
Tony Hawk, yeah, yeah. Super
This
Meat Boy
this is
3D.
up my alley.
Yeah,
Super
you
Meat
love
Boy
Super Meat Boy. You've
goes
loved Super Meat Boy
3D.
from the minute it came out. I was not into Super Meat Boy at all
Oh
because
yeah,
I'm not a big platformer guy.
but having it go 3D feels like the natural evolution. It's like,
Mhm.
what do? Go 3D.
You're
And
going
so
to
yeah,
have to. Yep.
it all depends on how it feels and how it plays, and you can't get that from a trailer. But this is a cool concept. Meat Boy looks appropriately little like fucking weird.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Not adorable.
yeah, and this is a 15-minute gameplay trailer, so I'm not going to go
Mhm.
through all of it. But yeah, also appropriately brutally difficult.
Of course. Alright, so what would be else?
And the biggest news.
Mhm.
Why is there an age check on a hardware announcement?
I have no clue.
Yeah. So
So, yeah,
Xbox
I
announced.
am down for this. I am so fucking down for this thing.
Come on.
And honestly, this seems like it is the natural progression, and I'm very, very excited that, they've been talking about this happening for a really long time, but the fact that this is happening now, that it's an rogue ally, that they're not making it out of whole cloth. They are partnering with a company that already makes the arguably the best portable game um, uh, platform. I mean, you've what do you think of it as compared to the Steam Deck? Which
I
is
don't
superior?
know. I haven't seen
I
a
wasn't
Steam
sure.
Deck. I haven't played it, but I like the
Neither
Ally.
did I.
Oh
Sorry.
my god. Sorry, hang on. There's something in my eye.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the Rogue Ally. It is going to be an Xbox Ally that is going to be using Windows. It is Xbox branded. It is going to be the controls are going to be. Well, I mean, right now,
Yeah,
if you get a
it's
Rogue Ally, it is very close to Xbox anyway. The thing that will be obviously different is the handholds. It's going to be more like an Xbox controller than what this is. Although this is very comfortable. I like the idea of having more instead of it holding like this, it's going to be more like, actually a controller that you're holding vertically as opposed to horizontally.
yeah, I think the
Um,
ergonomics look
the
good.
ergonomics look great. It's a fantastic ergonomics, I think. I am hoping that someone gets this to me for Christmas. I'm putting this
I
out there
mean,
right
this
now,
is coming
knowing that
out.
nobody listens to this show that would ever buy me one for Christmas, but I'm hoping to get one of these for Christmas.
This
And if
is
I
coming out
don't
this
get one of
year.
these for Christmas, right, I know it's coming out for Christmas. I think this is going to be the hot item. I think it's going to probably be bigger than um it is going to be interesting to see what is the hot console for holiday
I
2025.
mean, I
Is
can
it the
tell you
Switch 2 or
it's
is it
gonna be the
this?
Switch 2.
Yeah.
Like, no contest.
But I very much want one of these. Just simply because, and this is, you know, you got to give credit where credit's due. This is the thing that makes Game Pass make sense.
Yes, because like, I have the Ally, uh, and I've downloaded. Yeah, that's right. You don't deserve it for Christmas because you're just gonna lose it.
That's it. That's
You,
it right there. The rats did it. The
uh-huh.
rats did it.
Um, but yeah, one of the first things I did is I downloaded a bunch of games from Game Pass onto it, and I could play those on the go without an internet connection because they're downloaded to the console.
Right.
I'm not using the streaming; I'm playing it off of the handheld.
Right.
What's interesting about this is that how little it's different from the Rogue Ally. It mainly comes down to the operating system, where
The operating system and
they've
the
said
ergonomics. That's the only thing that's really different. The
yes.
operating system and the ergonomics.
They've said that they've basically it's still a Windows device, but they've kind of trimmed Windows down a bit to like uh uh close all of the background stuff that Windows typically runs.
Right.
One of the
That
first
is
things I did
unnecessary.
when I got the Ally, one of the first things I did is open up Task Manager and close Outlook, close the calculator, close all of the other bullshit apps that Windows automatically starts running in the background.
And it's essentially the software is going to be something that Windows has needed to have for a really long time, but hasn't had a reason to, is it's going to be a portable operating
It's
system.
going to get rid of the bloat.
Right. That is unnecessary because they were putting desktop Windows onto a portable device,
Yes.
unnecessarily taking up resources that made everything else just shittier. There was no point to it, no reason for it. If this is what it took for them to create a Windows OS, like, something that could actually be Windows specifically created for smaller devices that don't need all of the resources and are never going to be used as a desktop, then so be it. I think that if they use, I hope that they might actually license that out to other other devices so that it can actually overall improve all of the portable handhelds. If they did do that, it
Could
would
be.
actually open up quite a lot of market within handhelds. It would probably increase the amount of competition, probably lower prices, which means they probably won't do it anyway because, of course, they can't. They don't want to. I would imagine that that Rogue wouldn't want them to make that available to anyone else but themselves. But bottom line, I think that it is an improvement of Windows itself. I think
Well,
it's
I
an
will say
improvement of
actually
Ally itself. I think it's an improvement on Game Pass. It makes it a much more compelling argument of why you
on
might want a Game Pass.
on that topic of making it available, they have said that they will make that operating system available for download separately early next year, which
Really?
I'm very interested in because that means if come the end of this year, this comes out and everyone says the operating system works really well, it's really intuitive, I'll just download that on my existing Ally
Yeah.
and I'll get a lot of those software upgrades without having to buy this device,
Yeah.
which is interesting. Very consumer friendly, nice for me. I don't know how that necessarily works
You're
for
trying to
Microsoft.
wonder, like, okay,
Yeah, what's the
and
catch?
what's the catch? Exactly. You're not
Yeah.
gonna give this away for free. There's gonna be something else.
And I think this is good, but I'm really curious how that operating system works because they've talked about creating backwards compatibility within the Xbox ecosystem. The problem is that the Xbox operating system and Windows are two different things. And so if you have a game that works on Xbox, it doesn't necessarily work on Windows. That's why a lot of Game Pass is separated into console Game Pass and PC Game Pass, because there is an element of porting involved.
Mhm.
And so when I look at my Xbox library and I look at all the games I have on that library that I can play on the console, not all of those games I can play on the Ally because it's a PC.
Right.
And so, how do they merge those two? Because they basically have to do some emulation to get Xbox games working on this Windows handheld.
Mhm.
And if they can get that working, that would be really cool because that will actually be a merging of these two ecosystems.
Right. AC Ray says, didn't Dreamcast have Windows CE? And Bitter says, yep. But obviously, that is a very, very, very old Windows. And AC Ray says, unlike Windows 11, will that operating system support my CPU? Probably not.
Not. I've seen a lot of people speculate that this is like the future of the Xbox console, that it might be Microsoft or Xbox partnering with a different hardware manufacturer to put out something that is branded Xbox, that is like this Windows machine that can play Xbox games.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, but also, isn't that a Steam Deck? Not a Steam Deck. That's a Steam machine.
It's a Steam
Remember like
Oh, God.
10 years ago, 15 years ago,
Yeah.
when Steam was like, we've got big picture mode, we will license this out to a bunch of hardware manufacturers to make set-top PCs. And a lot of people did. None of them sold really well.
No.
And I'm wondering, like, okay, this is a good, I like this direction for Xbox because it's different. Because clearly PlayStation is just eating their cake and slapping them around in the console space. So they kind of have to do something different. And this is different. But I also
If
wonder,
they abandon the console space, I wouldn't be sad.
I don't think they'll abandon the console space because I think they want a box under your TV. But the question is, what is in that box and what can it do?
I don't think so. I don't think they want a box under your TV. They want an app on your smart TV.
They want both. They want a box under your TV for
Yeah,
the
but
people
all
like us, who will pay
Mm.
for that. They want an app on the TV for the people who won't pay for that. Because streaming is still not quite there for
No,
games. It's
it
a
isn't.
perk, but it's not something that you're going to build an entire ecosystem around.
True.
Um, my one worry about this direction for Microsoft is that they've said, like with this, you can put this is a PC, so you can put other games on it. You know, you can put your Steam games on it, you can put your Epic games on it, you can put your GOG games on it because it's a Windows machine. So, like with the Rogue Ally, I can have these separate libraries and kind of access all of them at once. So
Mhm.
just because it's Xbox branded doesn't mean that that will prohibit me from playing games from my Steam library and Epic library and GOG library. But then I wonder, Steam has such a chokehold on the entire PC marketplace. If you make a handheld and you make a console that's Xbox branded,
Mhm.
but I can play my Steam games on it, why would I ever buy something through the Xbox marketplace? I'll
Mm.
still just buy it on Steam because I can play it. I can play my Steam games on the Xbox handheld. Like, I wonder if they are
The only
the
reason why is it might be easier to play your games if they're downloaded off the Xbox Marketplace versus downloaded off Steam.
and
Just to
like
add a few extra
what does that
steps.
easy mean?
Just add a few extra steps, or you don't have to, to go through like a little bit of extra, like work to get it on there. Whereas if you could make the Xbox Marketplace, you literally hit a button and it takes you to that marketplace, and everything is the same price on Xbox Marketplace as it is on Steam. If it's easier to buy it on the Xbox Marketplace, you'll buy it there.
And like maybe I assume like Game Pass would still be good. If you subscribe to Game Pass, you can download all of those free games onto your free
Mhm.
games onto your device. But I wonder if has a larger overall plan. Is Xbox going to deprioritize their storefront by allowing people access to Steam, assuming that they will make up that cost with Game Pass subscriptions?
Maybe, but I think that they will probably do both because we already know that having a walled garden can get you into legal trouble. But making it slightly making your own marketplace more appealing / easier, faster, cheaper, however, usually it's easier. Less fuss, less must. You don't have to go through all these extra steps and moving stuff over and logging in on a separate site or going through the browser and then logging into the browser and then downloading. If it's a single button where you go Xbox Marketplace, scroll, buy, upload, done. That is something that you can't get sued for, to make your own marketplace more accessible than somebody else's marketplace. So you actually give them the option of like, oh yeah, you could absolutely go to Steam, but you have to go through a few more extra steps to actually get things on there, and it's a little bit clunky and it's a little hard to use. Not horrible, it's just a little hard to use. Or you could go to the Xbox
But the thing
Marketplace
is,
and it's seamless and instantaneous, and you can do it remotely, or you could do it from your laptop or doing from your desktop and then just remotely turn on your portable device, and it automatically downloads as long as it's in a range of your home Wi-Fi or whatever. You get all these extra perks that make buying it off of the marketplace so much easier and faster that it doesn't really it
I would
becomes
say
the
if
preferable way of doing it.
if that's what they do with this Xbox Ally, it'll get raked over the coals for it because the Ally is easy. The Ally works well with Xbox and Epic and GOG and
Yeah,
Steam.
that's the
I've
problem, is that
used
if
it and
they
it works
do make it a
well.
little more comfortable, because we already know how easy it is, they can't say, "Oh, yeah, we can't possibly make it any
Yes.
easier."
And I
It's
basically
complicated to go to
I
Steam and then download it onto an at Rogue.
I think if you give Steam an inch, they will take a mile because PC gamers love Steam and they are dedicated to that storefront. And so if you make an Xbox handheld that can play Steam games, you've made a Steam handheld.
Here's the thing. This handheld is not for PC gamers. PC gamers already have a handheld. This handheld is for Xbox players, and they
I
prefer the
think
Xbox Marketplace.
I think that's what Microsoft hopes for. But the thing is, you and me, the people listening to this podcast, we are a niche market in terms of the greater gaming thing. Like compared to mobile, compared to Fortnite, we are a small part of that gaming audience. PC gaming, an even smaller part of that gaming audience.
Mhm.
Handheld PC gaming is an even smaller part.
Yeah.
This is a product for a niche of a niche of a niche. And I think Microsoft's goal is to try to, by making it Xbox branded, they want to take that niche of a niche of a niche and make it more mainstream,
Right.
like the Switch.
They're going after the niche, not the
The-
niche of the niche of the niche.
Yeah. They want the Switch marketplace.
They want the I, not the I.
But I worry that the Switch is already out. The higher end, cheaper portable handheld is out now, and it will only gain steam until this one comes out and is like,
Mm, it's,
I don't know.
I'm going to make the argument that I'll probably get shut down for, but it's Nintendo. Switch is Nintendo.
And I have a little data factoid about the Switch 2 that will probably back that up.
Mm-hmm.
I guess okay, I'll get into it now then. Cyberpunk 2077
Mhm.
was the best-selling third-party game on Switch 2.
Mm-hmm.
The website I got that from says that it has a less than 5% attach rate. That means less than 5% of the people who bought a Switch 2 bought Cyberpunk 2077. And it's the highest selling third party game. You want to know what Mario Kart World's attach rate is?
What?
80%.
Yeah.
So,
Switch
yes, I will
players
give that to you.
play Nintendo games. And if you
Yes.
are not a Nintendo games person, chances are you're probably not going to get a Switch. I haven't owned a Switch. I'm not clamoring to get a Switch too. At one point, I considered getting a Switch, and that was when you couldn't get a Switch for love or money and I really considered it. And that was like during the pandemic. But I'm not compelled to get a Switch because Switch is Mario Kart and Zelda. I don't play Mario Kart. I don't play Zelda. Therefore, I don't play a Switch. If I want to play Cyberpunk 2077, I would much rather play it on something that seems, dare I say, grown up. Switch looks like a kid's toy. This is for grown-ups.
And I think that's
And I
definitely the
know that that's
market
not
they're
true.
going
I am
for.
making generalizations. I know that that's not true. No hate mail, please. I'm just kind of expressing the zeitgeist, kind of the overall impression of this is grown-up gaming. Switch is, you get it for the kids. And it goes back down to what the Wii was. The original Wii was what
And
was kids and old people.
I agree with you. The problem is that the kid shit sells more.
Kid shit sells more.
Because I think the Switch has already outsold every other high-end handheld combined. I'm saying
Yes.
Steam Deck,
Yes.
Rogue Ally, Lenovo Go,
Yes.
all of them combined, the Switch 2 has already beaten.
Right. And because there are a lot more children that want these things from their parents than there are parents that want them themselves.
Yes. So I don't know what the future of this handheld is, but I think it's interesting. And I will say, I said this about the PSVR 2. Is it a responsible device? Probably not. Did Sony spend an irresponsible amount of money making this device?
No,
Absolutely.
this was a contract. It was like, okay, you make
But
this and we'll put our name on it.
But
and,
was it?
and
But
we'll
was
pay
it a
you for
cool device? I am happy that Sony spent their money irresponsibly to make a cool device I can use. Maybe that's where Microsoft is going with this. But you know what? They've got money to burn.
Mhm.
So
They kind of do. And, here I am, someone that bought a Steam Deck because I was convinced to buy a Steam Deck, played it for all of maybe 40 minutes, and it's lost in my house, and I'm not panicked. It could be stolen. I could have left it somewhere. I have no idea. I haven't seen it. I'm not panicked. I really didn't want the Steam Deck, but it was Maynard that convinced me I should get it. And I have respected it as much as someone who was convinced to get something that wasn't sure they really wanted, and then I really didn't have a place to use it. It wasn't the right time, wasn't the right place, blah, blah, blah. This I want. That's all you got to say. I actually want this handheld device. I want the Xbox Rock Ally.
yeah, and
I
I-
was at, Chris said you could take this with you if you wanted to take it down to Los Angeles. I'm like, nah, but I want that one because I know that it is going to play my Xbox games on it.
and
That's what it all comes down to.
I am interested in like what that operating system is, because if the
Mhm.
operating system is better than the one on the Rogue now, the Ally now, then I'll download the operating system and kind of get that advantage without having to buy a new piece of hardware. But
So
with all of this talk of hardware stuff, I did see a little bit of like rumors and news items. It's not really news. I didn't see anyone really talking about it. Sony's like, maybe the PlayStation 6 will have some handheld component to it. Either it will be a handheld or they're going to be
PlayStation would be foolish to get into this.
Here's a PlayStation 6 console and here's a PlayStation 6 handheld that you can buy separately. And you know what?
PlayStation would be stupid to do that.
I would be into it because I own a
Really?
lot of PlayStation games and it would be
True.
nice to access that library on the go.
True. I wouldn't disagree with you. But honestly, Sony has released a number of portable devices in the past.
And they've been pretty well received.
None of them have been very good, in my opinion, at least for me.
People love
And
the
I
Vita.
have them all.
People
I
love the
bought
Vita.
them all, and I ended up
The
being
Vita?
very disappointed with all of them.
People love the Vita.
Vita?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I still have my PSPS.
Pss, 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 pss.
Yeah, the PSPS.
Pss,
I
pss,
still
pss.
have my PSPS sitting in my drawer that I think maybe played a couple of games on it, and then I watched Serenity on it,
Oh my
the
god.
movie.
That's right, UMDs.
Yep.
Oh.
That's all I did. So yeah, the PSPS wasn't that great. The Vita wasn't that great.
It says she actually knows where a PlayStation
Point. Yeah, good point. I know where the PlayStation, my PSPS is, but I don't know where my where my Vita is, but I do not know where my Steam Deck is.
I had a PSP. I loved it.
Anyways,
well,
right. It wasn't PSPS. It was just PSP.
Speaking of PlayStation, let's get into the state of play just because I think it's pretty quick.
Okay.
Let me scroll to the top and then share the screen.
You don't need to do that. You just change the thing. Well, actually, you do because you probably have all of them in different tabs, huh?
Yeah. Okay, so one of the bigger things they showed off was James Bond First Light. We have seen... Oh, thank God it doesn't start with a giant...
Right.
We have seen some of this before. Come on. IO announced this and had a trailer before they showed it off the PlayStation event, so this wasn't the first time we saw it. This was like a little bit of a deeper dive. I don't know. I enjoy watching Hitman more than I enjoy playing it. And I gotta say, this Bond looks like the most generic ass white boy I have ever fucking seen. Look at this guy. That is a default character creator
It
right there.
looks like a grown-up Michael J. Fox.
No, Michael J. Fox has more of a unique look than this. So I don't know anything about the gameplay, but I just like, oh,
It's Michael J. Fox meets Timothy Chalamet.
He looks like a cross between every
Every leading man.
It's like you took every white leading man and like morphed them into
If you
one
took
person.
all of the Sarsgaards and put them all into one person, that's him.
All of the Hemsworths.
All the Hemsworth and all the Sarsgaards, morphed them into a single person, and that's him.
Mm-hmm. So that's
just like a James Bond.
That's just me mocking the character design. I have no idea how the game will play. It could be fun. It could be not. I think IO is an inspired choice to make a Bond game based on Hitman.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this would be a fun game to at least watch people play, even if it's not my cup of tea. But then I never got into Hitman because so much of it was stealth based. And so much of it was based around like repeating the same levels over and over again. So if they make something that's a bit more cinematic and linear.
Yeah, I played a lot of Hitman, and I like that for that reason.
I don't like replaying things.
I like, well, it was replay, but it was also finding, like, you play it, and then you play it like ham-fisted, just going in loud.
Yeah, he does kind of look like Jason
Bateman.
Bateman.
There we go. That's who it looks like, Jason Bateman. Meets Timothy Chalamet. But the thing I liked about it is there was multiple ways you could go about it. And you kind of had to think on your feet a little bit, because even though stuff was scripted, you still had to get right in the right cadence, timing wise, to do it. I found myself playing those levels over and over again to get a slightly higher score.
Oh my God.
Because I wanted to do it a little more stealthily or a little more Hitmanly. So I enjoyed that part of it. So this actually seems very interesting to me.
Okay. The chat linked to Patrick Gibson, who is an Irish actor who played Dexter in the prequel series, Dexter Original Sin.
Mm-hmm.
He really looks like that.
Okay, hold on a second.
Oh wait, it actually is Patrick Gibson?
Let's see. There you go.
Oh yeah, it is him.
It is Patrick Gibson. Yep.
Yeah, sorry, Gibson. You look like a Photoshop.
You kind of do. Yeah, I don't know if I'd call it. He's not really Bond material. Bond has a roguish look that he doesn't quite have. Anyway, I'm just
he's a little boyish.
Yeah.
Anyways,
boyish.
Okay. Next thing, Marvel Tonkin fighting. Not my game at all, but it looks wild and crazy enough that I'll probably enjoy watching some sort of tournament about it.
Yeah.
If anything, it was worth it just to hear Spider-Man go, oh, can I hear the Japanese Spider-Man shout out his move?
You're going to have to turn up the volume, though.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're going to have to turn it up a little bit more. That's awesome. Fighting souls.
So
I love it.
That's worth it. I will never touch that game.
Nope.
Silent Hill F. It's Silent Hill. Final Fantasy Tactics looks great. I will buy that, even though I played it just last year because it's like the best tactics game ever made. Metal Gear Delta. They had a little trailer of Ghost of Yotai just to say, "Hey, we're going to show off more later."
Right. In fact,
So
that was one of my stories was
I thought that was a little
Ghost of Yotai got a game of say to play tease, but It was very, very, very short. They did not, other than
It was
say,
a tease
"Hey,
of
we're
the
still,
tease.
it's coming." But they did also say that there is going to be a Sucker Punch is doing it, obviously, and it is going to be scheduled for early July for essentially a much bigger presentation. You'll be looking at their evolved gameplay mechanics, exploration, combat, and other stuff like that. So they essentially just said, "Hey, this is happening, and here, just to remind you, this is still coming. It's still coming in 2025, but we're gonna essentially devote an entire thing to it. Just Ghost of Yotei in another couple of weeks."
Yeah. So then Astrobot got new things, some new levels, which is always cool. A new Luminous, which was, speaking of PSP, a puzzle game that kind of hit it big on the PSP.
Mm-hmm.
And Pragmata is the other game that stood out to me, if only because this trailer, like, it showed off the game. It didn't really show off the gameplay much, but it's like, oh, it just looks like a shooter. It looks really generic. But based on what people have said that actually got their hands on it, it sounds really interesting. I want to try to find some gameplay here. It's Capcom described it as a hack and shoot, but usually when they talk about hack and slash, it's like hacking with a sword. In this case, it's hacking with like computers. So you've got the girl on your shoulder, and you've got a gun in your hand. And the way it works is that all of the robots have shields. And so if you look at this line coming from the girl to the robot, that's going to be activate a hacking minigame that you have to use to take down the shield. And let's see if I can get it. It very briefly appears in the trailer, but the hacking minigame, here it is. It's like this little grid, and you have to like get to the power button. But in order to do that, you have to navigate through the grid, and you do that using the face buttons.
What was something like that? There was some hacking that did that, where you had to essentially create a path from one point to another. What
Any number of mini games.
was that? A Fallout game? That mechanic of hacking was something.
I know BioShock had the pipes that you had to connect.
Maybe it was BioShock.
But
Anyway.
what's interesting about this is that it happens while you're playing and shooting. And so this is a mini game that's kind of designed to be performed in seconds, right? Because it happens in the middle of combat. And so having it navigate on the face button feels pretty cool. And what I've heard people say is it plays really well.
Really? I cannot possibly
the people that got
see
their hands
myself
on it
being able to solve a puzzle in the middle of a shooting game.
The people that got their hands on it were like, this may be like the underrated game of the show.
Really?
So the trailer did not express that at all. I was not interested in this until I heard people praising the gameplay on podcasts. But I'm very,
so it's
very
out.
Right
it's
now.
out in it's out in reviewers' hands at this point.
No, they got to play a demo of it at Summer Game Fest.
Oh, okay, all right. All right. Well,
let's
I
see.
mean,
When is this coming? When is this actually coming out? Because this was.
dude, I hope that
way
this
back
is
in
at PAX.
2020.
This would be something I would like to touch at PAX. By the way, incidentally,
2026
announcement. We were approved to go to PAX.
Yeah.
So we are for the first time since 2019, pre-pandemic, Nick and I are going to PAX. We have our approval for our passes. We had 2 days ago, I got our rooms, and last night I booked our flights. So we are absolutely going to be going to PAX, and we're going to be doing it just like we used to, where we had tons of interviews and posting them as fast as we possibly can. It's going to be really interesting to try to do as on YouTube and Twitch, because we've never really done video.
Did you want to do video?
No. Not at all.
I don't know how to do video.
But how do I convey it on YouTube and Twitch
Mm,
without having some kind of video? So this is going to be very, very interesting for me to try to figure out the best way to do this, given
Yeah.
our resources and given our kind of new way of doing things. Because we didn't, since that time, we became a video streaming podcast. Prior, we were just an audio. So, and I don't want to just do it for audio. I do want to have something for you guys here on Twitch and on YouTube and on Facebook. Haven't quite figured out how we're going to do it. We'll definitely be doing some video live streams. We will definitely be doing them not sober. There will definitely be a video drunk cast because, of course, it is a tradition. Usually night one is the drunk cast. Usually fairly early because Nick and I have to be up early the next day for the first hour to get in on the media hours for
okay.
for the actual event. But we're definitely going to be doing it. There's going to be drunk casts. So, and probably knowing us, it will be literally spur of the moment when we're completely hammered and go, we should go live, we should go live, we should go live. So there may be notifications that you get that we're going live and it's 2:00 in the morning. Entirely possible. It is, this is when I become a bro. And if you think about it, what was it? 2019, that was 6 years ago. I was not even 55 and now I'm almost 60.
Drinks will probably not be on Tiny Build this time around.
Yeah, but I'm hoping, yeah, no, actually maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna try and scoot us into as much as we possibly can get.
Okay.
But one thing that's not gonna be around, unfortunately, is Snapdragon. It's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Dragonfish. Dragonfish. It's gone. So that was our
Gotta
usually
find
our
another Asian restaurant.
our late night happy hour sake until we couldn't stand thing. Gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do this year. But I hope that game. The fact that it's coming out in 2026, I'm really, really hoping that demo comes to PAX because I very much put that down. AC Wraith, get a call on you. Do me a favor, start making a list of games that Nick and I mention in the next month and a half that we say we want to see it at PAX. Because
it's pretty much
I'm going to need that list when we get close to start trying to make appointments to see.
Yeah. He'd also said about Pragmata, the return of the little girl I said I'd adopt, love, and squeeze and possibly call George.
Oh, really? Is this a sequel?
No, perils of being raised to protect Drew Barrymore from trolls whenever she can't throw fireballs.
Yeah, all right. I was going to say, this is a sequel? Have you
No,
seen this little girl
before? No, we did see her before, back in 2020 when this game was first announced.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I'm talking about playing her. 2020? That was when this game was announced?
A trailer for this game.
They've been working on it for 5 years and it's not coming out.
A trailer for this game was part of like the look at the PS5. It was one of the launch trailers for like showing off the PS5. Never came out.
Oh,
until now.
Wow, this is sort of the Last Guardian kind of situation.
Kind of. Yeah, no, we saw an earlier trailer.
Oh, okay. All right.
Games to add to the PAX list now. Pragmata?
Yeah, Pragmata. Pragmata is definitely where I want to. I'm really interested to touch it because everyone says that it works well, and I cannot possibly see how that mechanic would work. Yeah. Because the thought of trying to do a puzzle while I'm trying to shoot and stay alive, I can't see that. I can see that. I can see me not doing well with that at all. Now, other people, maybe, I don't know, but we'll see. Hopefully, we'll see. Anyway, back to what we were talking about.
And that is almost everything that at least I found personally interesting about Sony, the PlayStation, except for baby feet.
Baby feet or baby steps?
Oh, baby steps. This game looks absolutely stupid in the best way possible.
Just go behind this bush.
This
I'll
is
wait.
from the
I
creator
know, run
of
away.
I
He's
think it's
nice.
Getting
Oh,
Up.
yeah,
Bennett
no, yeah.
Foddy's Getting Up.
You can watch.
Mhm.
It's like a walking. It's a literal walking simulator.
Yes. Yes. Oh. Oh, I am
Speaking of
into
stuff
this.
to play at PAX, I would really.
Here we go. This I definitely want to play at PAX.
Well, I guess it depends on when this comes out,
Here we go.
because it might be out before
Oh,
PAX.
no. He found it even without a map. The best toilet on the mountain.
Oh, good.
Closing door and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, that's essential.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, I mean, ever since I was a kid,
Oh.
you know, really couldn't go with the other kids. Yeah, no, I needed the stall.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, September 8th.
September 8th. So that is going to be coming out the week after PAX. Because
Yeah.
PAX ends on the 1st. So 7 days after PAX, this goes live.
Yeah, that is the kind of game where you really need to play it to see what it's like. But it looks
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah. This is actually the kind of perfect game to go to PAX, especially a week before it comes out, because that would absolutely get press and attention, et cetera, et cetera. So, baby steps on the list.
Okay.
Thank you.
And that's it for me for PlayStation. They had other stuff. Like they announced a fighting stick, but again, that's all.
Yeah.
We have a lot of stuff to get through.
All right. So what else do you have? Actually, you know what? That's all the fests, right? Did you want to talk about Summer Games Fest?
We can talk about Summer Game Fest. There's a lot in Summer Game Fest, so we can move on to some other news.
Let's move on to some other news, because I would imagine some other Summer Games Fest stuff is going to come out.
Yeah.
And when we do Summer Games Fest, let's just stick to like the highest of high notes. All right. So in other important, interesting
Yeah.
news.
No, not even close to all the fests. There's also like Future Game Show. There was like another one that I forget. There's a lot.
You know, June is really asking for a single kind of convention where
thing
all
is,
of this
you
stuff can
can't-
come out all at once.
You can't do a single convention anymore. It's just too many
Too much.
games.
Yeah, too many. Well, you could. I mean, that's the thing, is that there were a lot of conventions that all were going on at E3 before and after.
Yeah.
But in other news unrelated to that, Warner Brothers, kind of big news. Warner Brothers is restructuring. And tell me if this sounds familiar to you. They are restructuring into that is going to create a whole bunch of leadership changes that they say is going to help the company refocus around Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Mortal Kombat, and DC comic games. Essentially,
When was the last time there was a popular DC Comics game?
when was the last time that we had a big company that took all of its big properties and moved it into a whole separate company and then put the lesser ones into smaller divisions?
I mean,
within their
you know what?
company?
You know what? Ironically, I think that was Warner Brothers, which has just divested from Discovery
Yeah, true.
because all of the debt that they got from the merger, they're like, shit, we can't actually pay this off. So we're going to take all the good stuff, put it into one company, take all the bad stuff, put it into another company, and then fuck that off.
Right, flog it off or just make it go out of business, bankrupt it. So the three current studio heads that are head of in Warner Brothers have been promoted to senior vice president as part of the restructure. Warner Brother Games Montreal studio head Yves Lachance has been
Hang on,
named
I do have to go to the bathroom real quick.
Okay. Senior Vice President of Development on Harry Potter games and Game of Thrones titles. Then NetherRealm studio head Sean Himmerich has been appointed Senior Vice President of Development of Mortal Kombat and DC games. All the Warner Brothers games development studios and production publishing teams are going to report to Lachance and Himmerich from now on. Warner Brother Game Studio head Stephen Flenoy will be Senior Vice President of Central Tech and Services to oversee the company's game and publishing technology, customer service, quality assurance, and user research operations. So he's going to kind of be almost like the IT tech guy, where the other ones are overseeing the actual titles. So those 3 people will be joining Warner Brother Games senior leadership team, and they're going to report to JB Perrette, the CEO of global streaming and games for Warner Brothers Discovery. So bottom line is that they are kind of taking their big properties, and they are putting them in their own individual silos, with the third silo being the one that kind of has all the support for those titles in the other 2 silos. Is it just me, or does it seem that many companies, and it's starting with Embracer when it created its 3 different companies of Middle Earth and Friends, and then, the Marry Fuck Kill. I can't remember the other 2. Coffee Stain was the second one, and then the third one was some other name that are essentially the Kill. Marry Fuck Kill trilogy. They started it. Now we're looking at, last time we talked, a few weeks ago, Ubisoft doing the same thing, taking their big properties and putting them into a separate company, and then leaving the original company kind of with all of the garbage, flotsam and jetsam, plus all of the debt, plus all of like the bad blood that has been coming from Ubisoft into that old one that they're either going to sell off, or they're going to jettison, or they're going to put it and take it out of business and go bankrupt or whatever. And then they're going to get money from Tencent for this other prime properties business. And then here's the third one, is Warner Brothers trying to kind of create this whole new structuring. Now, in this case, it's not going to be 3 separate companies. They're all answering to this one guy, the CEO, Perrette, JB Perrette. But at the same time, they're kind of putting the different big properties into their own silos, with the third silo being the support silo, so that they kind of, I don't know that this is going to be helpful for them. Warner Brothers has notoriously mismanaged their
That's for
games
sure.
division on an epic proportion. So I don't know if this is going to improve things. I can't imagine it would make it worse. But then, every time you say that, inevitably you're proven wrong, especially when you're talking about Warner Brothers. You cannot underestimate them for how bad they can screw up their gaming division. But it is going to be interesting to see if this makes any changes to Warner Brothers. The downside of this that I see is when you have one person in charge of 2 titles, this guy in charge of 2 titles, this guy in charge of support, it leaves absolutely zero vehicle, zero way for there to be any new games that are not in these titles. There's no option, there's no division for game development, new IPs, anything unique. It
I
is
don't think Warner Brothers wants that.
right. It is essentially lather, rinse, repeat. And it is locking that idea, that mindset that Warner Brothers has had of lather, rinse, repeat their big properties until they are no longer big. It's locking that in structurally within the company, so that there really is no way for anybody within Warner's who says, I have a great idea for a game, or I have a great idea for a series. There's no one for them to go to. They can't, unless it's in the Game of Thrones or the Harry Potter, you can't go to this guy. Unless it's in the DC or Mortal Kombat, you can't go to this guy. And the third guy is just tech and customer service. So who are you going to go to talk
And the
about this great game?
and the problem too is that I said this about Embracer, which like restructured around Lord of the Rings, and like there hasn't really been Lord of the Rings isn't a big marketable IP outside of those movies. They're doing it around
And
Mortal Kombat.
Game of Thrones hasn't had a good game.
Game of Thrones hasn't had a good game. Like also that final season, like really, really shit the bed and like killed a lot of the popularity of it.
Right. It's
And
killed a
House
lot
of the
momentum.
Dragon hasn't been consistent enough to like keep that fandom going. So the restructuring around Game of Thrones, which is like, it feels like an old IP.
What Game of Thrones game have they had that isn't a mobile game?
They had an RPG in the 360 era, which was surprisingly decent, but like just came and
Oh
went.
yeah, I remember that one.
They had a Telltale game of Game of
Yes,
Thrones, which also
right.
kind of just came and went.
Yeah, it didn't really make
Uh,
impact.
There is one out now, which is
There
like
is?
Game of Thrones. It just came out like a month ago. It's like on mobile and on PC and on consoles. It's like a third person action RPG or something. I don't know how
Wow,
well
that says
it's
a lot
doing.
that maybe they need to create a fourth person that does marketing.
Yeah, it's sorry, I
Bless
think I
you.
need to let the cat out.
Okay, keep talking.
But yeah, like it's an IP that has kind of run its course. Like, what else do you do with it?
Nick, is that a
Yeah.
new chair, or are you just really
Oh
into leaving the tag on it?
no, yeah, this is a new chair.
Oh,
This is a gaming chair I got at Costco because the old chair I have, ironically, this one has now become a cat bed. But like the new chair is just more comfortable, right? I
mhm,
work from home Monday and Friday, and so I got a new chair that's like, oh,
nice.
this feels a lot better. It's got better headrest, better backrest.
Okay. Anyway,
Yeah, Game of Thrones has kind of run its course. Harry Potter, like Hogwarts Legacy, was a great selling game. Their Quidditch game flopped. You know, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them was a 5-movie series that ended after 3 movies. Like, what this applies to a lot of companies. Everyone is like chasing IP, but that means that they're relying on IP that's kind of old and outdated and has run its course. Like earlier this year, there was a remake of The Crow. Who the fuck is going to go watch a remake of The Crow?
right.
And I feel like this is a lot. Mortal Kombat is, Mortal Kombat does its thing, but it doesn't really have a lot of expansion beyond some, low budget action movies and low budget decent action movies
Mhm,
and the video games. But
right.
like that's not an IP that you can exploit in the way that I think Warner Brothers wishes they could.
Right. I'm mm, this doesn't bode well for Warner Brothers.
I mean,
It
look,
seems
it's
like
not
it is a creativity killer.
to be fair, like they were pretty bottom of the barrel already.
Right.
There's
This
no
is
place for
just
them to go
this
but
is
up.
securing that bottom of the barrel. They have that on lockdown right now, and I don't see that this restructuring doing anything to improve that. I honestly don't see this restructuring making them a stronger company. I don't see them making a better company. I don't see it making more money for anyone. All I see this is a race to the bottom for Warner Brothers. That it's like, how low can we go? Let me let me dig a little deeper. Let me hold my beer, hold my white claw while I go a little further down into completely it seems like they're almost babysitting their gaming division. Like, we don't really want this. We want it. We kind of wish we didn't own it because it seems more problems than it's worth.
Mm.
So let's just put this in the corner and do everything that we possibly can so that no one comes to us with a new idea. I don't know why anyone would work at Warner Brothers right now in their gaming division because it's like, I mean, other than those 3 guys who obviously have great jobs, probably paying a lot of money, but I don't know why anyone would work at Warner Brothers who actually likes making games. They and I can't imagine they pay very well either because they really are not prioritizing this.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a sad to see them have so many good things potentially in their catalog, in their, what they could draw upon to actually do some really good games, and they're not. Not only do they not want to, they want to actively prevent anyone from coming up with any ideas to actually use these mechanics and these ideas that they could capitalize on and make a lot of money from.
Yeah.
So we already talked about Ghost of Otai. Speaking of shitting the bed, interesting story came out from Forbes today. Yesterday, day before. The Monster Hunter Wilds not doing well at all, surprisingly. In fact, at this point, there's more people playing Monster Hunter World than there are playing Monster Hunter Wilds. The reviews of it and the player count have all plummeted. On Steam, it is now only 18% positive, which has given the game the dreaded overwhelmingly negative classification, which is surprising because it came out and people were really, really digging it. But the problem is that it was buggy, but it was like new and they expected that. The problem, and also it was, I don't want to say short, but people were really enjoying it. And then they stopped putting out new content.
Yeah, I
There's
think
no
I've heard that
end-game
the
content.
end game, there's not a whole lot to do in the end
There's
game.
not a lot to do in the end game. So as it has been aging and more people are hitting end game, and the people that have hit end game a while ago have been waiting for stuff to come out, they've been getting more and more and more disgruntled. In fact, the negative review are pretty much split. The reviews are in two camps. The first says that the PC performance is absolutely horrible. And they see it getting actually worse, not better over time, because the fixes that Capcom has done to the game have actually been hurting the performance, not helping it. Or the ones that they put out that do help are not coming out fast enough to be able to keep up with the people getting dissatisfied about the performance. One excerpt of a review of the PC performance in Steam said, quote, "Unfortunately, I can't recommend this game in its current state. Performance is awful, even on a very high-end PC, and crashes are frequent, especially if you enable frame generation, which the game recommends as soon as you open it." But more so than just the PC performance, people are very unhappy about the lacking of an end game. There's not been enough expansion over time. And Capcom has said in the past they expected to have robust and engaging new content for Endgame they were going to be putting out, and then they went silent. And so there's not enough coming, and when it does come, it's too little too late. So currently, 18% positive, overwhelmingly negative classification. That has dropped the overall review classification to mixed. The player count is what's insane. So when it launched, there were 1.38 million concurrent players on Wilds. It is now peaking at 17,000. That is about just a little over 1% of the amount of people they had at launch. There are more people playing Monster Hunter World from 2018, 7 years ago, than there are playing Wilds that came out, this year, last year, late last year.
Last year.
Yeah. So yeah, it's 4 months, just 4 months. It's dropped 4 months. So it was this year that it came out. So 4 months after release, it has dropped. The player count has dropped 99%. And it's just astounding that you would have player count drop. I mean, we were used to seeing player count drops on games that either don't do what they need to do soon enough, or they're buggy, or they're incredibly hyped, and then they come out and they're kind of meh. But I don't know that I've ever seen a player count drop that much, from well over 1 million players dropping to less than 20,000 in a matter of 4 months on a game that is obligate multiplayer. There's
Yeah, I
kind
think
of no other thing. There's no campaign, so to speak, of Monster Hunter Wilds.
Although
That
it
is
is
the game.
it is you can play it single player, right?
Yeah,
But
you
yeah, it is a
can,
multiplayer game, and I
but
do
that's
think
not. Yeah.
the bigger damnation is that Worlds is being played more than Wilds. The previous game is being played more because it has a kind of largely single player. You expect those games to drop, right? Like
Mhm.
single player games are not meant to be live service games.
No.
So you can't take a single player game and look at the player count after 6 months and go, "Oh, look, this game is doing terrible," because it's a single player game. Like if you look at the Steam counts for
Right, because
Claire
people will
Pure,
have finished the single player and then they put it away and they don't pick it up again.
yeah, if you look at the single players for Expedition 33, I'm sure that they've probably cratered over time,
Right,
but
because
because
you
it's a
finished
single player
the
game that
game.
you finish.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I do like Wilds because like you can you can play multiplayer, but it's not structured like a live service game.
Mm-mm.
So I expect there to be some player count decline over time. But the fact that it goes under Worlds is the bigger issue, I think.
Yeah.
That says a lot. That people
Yeah.
prefer the old game over the new
That
one.
the old game actually has more content, even though the players, many of those players, have already finished Worlds years ago. They'd
Yeah.
still rather go back to that than play what they have going in the newer game, which is crazy to me. So yeah, I'm not really quite sure why Capcom hasn't serviced this better than it has. I mean, this is not their only cash cow, but it's not a small one. This is a pretty big title for them. So I
Yeah.
don't know what's going. It makes you wonder what the hell's going on at Capcom. If they
Whoa.
didn't issue all of this DLC and endgame content that they said that they were going to do it, and that the fixes that they're issuing for PC have gotten worse and worse and worse over time instead of making the game better.
Yeah. I would be curious what the reception and what the performance is on console.
That's a good point.
I
I
wonder if
I
it's
have not heard anything. I mean, that's the thing is that you really don't see much on console
yeah, well, that's
complaints.
because
It's
the
on Metacritic.
consoles don't have the Steam reviews are like a dynamic way to judge
Right.
player
And it's a
feedback.
single clearinghouse of like pretty much the PC versions.
Yeah.
Even if you buy it elsewhere, you might go onto Steam and you might say what you think on Steam because that's where everybody goes for find out
Well,
if a
and
PC game is
what's
good.
nice is you can see the player count of the people writing reviews. So you can
Mhm.
see, oh, they've played a lot or a little.
Mhm.
And you can use that to kind of
Gauge.
judge the authority of the
Yeah.
review.
Right.
But like generally, Comcap has
Wow.
Capcom
Yeah.
has been like on a banger roll recently, releasing like a bunch of really, really great quality games.
Mhm.
So, and Wilds was received really, really well when it came out. So it's kind of unfortunate they haven't followed that up.
Yep. So I'm going to try and rip through the rest of my stories really fast because there's not so much to speak of, even though they're kind of big. We should mention them
Mhm.
because we're going on now close to 3 hours in the show. First off, Xbox MetaQuest photos have been leaked. Let me get so that you can see those. Goodbye, Patrick Gibson. We're not looking at you anymore. All right. So this is leaked Meta Quest 3S Xbox Edition headset, gaming VR headset. This has been independently verified by Insider Gaming that the
Okay.
Xbox Quest 3S has already been sent to some retailers. So it is there. It's out. It's ready to go. I don't know if it will reportedly cost $399. It's going to feature 3 months of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and have 128 gigs of storage. The official announcement for this is going to arrive in just 2 days from now on June 24th. But this has been leaked and we're about to find out about it. So, I don't know that I wanted.
It fits with Microsoft's or Xbox's new business model, which seems to be let's
Branding.
just license out our Xbox name to every existing piece of hardware.
It's
Like,
not a bad idea.
hey,
Better than making it on their own.
yeah, hey, you got the Quest 3 hardware? Let's make an Xbox version.
Right.
Hey, you
Let's
got
just
a
put an
Rogue Ally?
Xbox
Let's make
button
an
and paint
Xbox
it green.
version. Hey, you got a Switch 2? Let's make an Xbox version of that. Oh, you got a PlayStation 5? Can we get an Xbox version of that? Like,
You have a black refrigerator. Let's get an Xbox version of that.
yeah. So that makes sense. I would be very curious what Xbox brings to the table, considering they don't have any VR support. Like,
They probably give some money and a significant amount of the profits.
no, but like,
They don't ask for a lot of points on it.
no, but I mean, if I buy this headset, what about it is Xbox?
What about it is
Because
Xbox?
Xbox doesn't have a VR headset. They don't have VR games on the Xbox storefront because there is no VR headset that's compatible with
It's
Xbox.
black, whereas the MetaQuest 3 is white.
Like, what? Look, I guess we'll wait 2 days to find out. But
Yeah.
like, at least a PlayStation branded one would be. Oh, this is. I could use this with all of the PSVR games, but there
Yeah.
are no VR games on Xbox. So why
Yeah.
would I get this headset?
Don't know. We'll see. We'll find out in a couple of days.
Yeah, find out.
The other big news is that remember we were concerned about Marathon. Well, apparently Bungie got concerned too. They have announced that they're going to delay Marathon based on player feedback from the alpha test earlier this year. So on the 17th, which is last week, the development team confirmed that they would not launch on September 23rd as initially promised. The feedback was the reason. They said that the players in the alpha found the game underwhelming, hard to play solo. It didn't really have a lot of, gravitas, a lot of tension that you would normally have from an extraction shooter. That's kind of the point of an extraction shooter, is to be like, to get out.
Everything I saw about feedback from that alpha was, this is coming out in 6 months.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
So their official statement on it is, through every comment and real-time conversation on social media and Discord, your voice has been strong and clear. We've taken this to heart, and we know we need more time to craft Marathon into a game that truly reflects your passion. After much discussion within our dev team, we've made the decision to delay the September 23rd release. Now, they did not give a date, but they just said that it's delayed. They also said these are the things that they're going to be working on. They're going to make the survival game more challenging and engaging with AI encounters, more rewarding runs with new types of loot, and making combat more tense and strategic. They are going to make the Marathon universe much more compelling, with increased visual fidelity, more narrative and environmental storytelling to discover and interact with, and a
we're going to
darker tone.
We're going to remove all of the copyright infringing art that we stole.
Maybe. A darker tone that delivers on the themes of the original trilogy. And then adding more social experiences. They're going to have a better experience for solos and duos, and prox chat so social stories can come to life. So it sounds like Bungie realized that they were absolutely going to have Valorant Point 2. And
I mean, Valorant does well, though.
Valorant
is, by all accounts, a successful game.
No, was it Valorant? What's the one that came out that was like...
Oh, Concord.
I'm sorry, not Valorant. Concord.
Yeah.
That it was Concord Part 2. And they read the writing on the wall and said, even if we release the same game that we've got right now, let's just hold back, because it will break the narrative that this is Concord Part 2. That this is going to make us different than Concord, is to go in and make tweaks based, and make a big thing about, hey, we're delaying the game because we listened to you.
Yeah.
That breaks that narrative. of Concord Part 2.
Assuming that the game comes out and is good.
Even if the game isn't good and they incorporate some of this feedback, I'm just surprised that they had to recognize these problems this late in the game. I can't imagine that their playtesters didn't have this exact feedback and that they
Based
chose not
on
to listen to them.
based on the stuff I've read about Bungie, that studio is so horribly mismanaged. It's like Warner Brothers level of this place is awful.
Mhm.
I will bet those playtesters had a lot of this same feedback, and it continuously that it kept falling on deaf ears until they gave it to the players in the alpha, and all the alpha players were like, "This sucks."
Right. And then they went, oh, hey, this is going to suck.
Yeah. Oh, this is news to us,
Yeah.
says the CEO.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And meanwhile, everybody that was part of the QA department was like, now you're listening?
Fucking fine.
Well, better now than later, I guess. So that is absolutely happening, and I'm not angry about it. And the last two items I have is, remember that whole drama about Borderlands 4 being $80 and people losing their mind, and then Randy Pitchford kind of stepping in it and said, hey, you'll find the money if you're a real fan, you'll find the money, blah blah blah. He should have just fucking kept his fucking mouth shut, because guess what? All that drama was for nothing. Borderlands 4 is $70. It's not $80. So he should have just shut his pie hole and said nothing. I'm sure he knew exactly how much it was going to cost. He should have asked to find out
that he said like he didn't know, because I'm sure that the pricing is up to someone at Take-Two.
Mm-hmm.
But he should just said, sorry, the pricing is not up to us. I hope it's affordable.
I hope it's
for
70.
everyone.
I hope it's not
And
82.
end it there.
But if it is, there's probably a very good reason for it.
Yeah.
We did spend a lot of time on this game. It is a very expensive game to make. We put everything we could into it. It is not, the Borderlands 3 that we made before at $60 was a lot cheaper than the Borderlands 4 that we're making, because this Borderlands 4A is more expensive because of time and inflation, and B, this is so much of a better game than what we made. This is a bigger game. It was so much more detailed. There's so many more mechanics that we required more people. It required more resources. So if it's 80, I wouldn't be surprised, but I have no control over it. I could absolutely say something to them, but this is up to Take-Two. That's all he had to do. Or he could say, yeah, I'll give it, I'll let, you know what he should have done? He's like, you know what? You're right. Let me talk to Rockstar.
Yeah.
Let me talk to
see what I
Take-Two.
can do.
And then when it came out at 70, he would be the hero.
Yeah.
So, but as it is, it's going to be $70. And my last one is, after more than a year of this, finally, it looks like this SAG-AFTRA voice actor strike might be nearing an end. Thank God. So it turns out that there is both sides have reached a tentative agreement last week. Details have not been released, but SAG-AFTRA says it includes, quote, necessary AI guardrails, because of course the concern was that AI would be able to copy, replicate, and alter the work of actors without compensating them for it. So the 10 companies involved in this agreement are Activision, Blind Light, Disney Character Voices Incorporated, Electronic Arts Productions, Epic Games, Formosa Interactive, Insomniac Games, Take-Two Productions, and WB Games. SAG says more about the deal details will be shared when the strikes, if they agree, and if the strike ends. But for the most part, for right now, actors are still on strike, but a tentative agreement has been reached pending taking it to the membership and having the membership vote. So, according to SAG-AFTRA chief negotiator Duncan Crabtree Ireland, great name, he said everyone at SAG-AFTRA is immensely grateful for the sacrifices made by the video game performers and the dedication of an interactive media agreement negotiating committee throughout these many months of the video game strike. Patience and persistence has resulted in a deal that puts in place the necessary AI guardrails that defend performers' livelihoods in the AI age, along with other important gains. So,
Good.
looks like we may finally have a deal, which would only be a good thing, especially if it's good protections for AI actors so that they don't get their voice likeness ripped off and stolen from them by ChatGPT.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
So,
Okay. I got a couple quick ones, a couple of good ones.
Mhm.
The creator of Eddie Shanker, who was behind the animated shows for Castlevania and Devil May Cry on Netflix, has
mhm.
bought the rights to Duke Nukem, which normally I just roll my eyes and go, really, Duke Nukem? But Castlevania and Devil May Cry was shockingly good shows on Netflix.
Wait,
Castlevania
you don't
especially.
have a banner for this, do you?
Oh, did I not put this in? Okay.
Well,
But Castlevania especially is a shockingly great show. It's one of the best things Netflix has produced. And so to see him doing Duke Nukem, I will give him the benefit of the doubt. And I'm curious to see what he comes up with. If
yeah,
only because he has a proven track record of quality material.
yeah, and I can absolutely see Duke Nukem being made into a very compelling series. Did they say whether it's going to be animated or if it's going to be live action?
No, but look, his biggest hits on Netflix have been animated shows. I assume it's going to be animated just because it's
Yeah.
way cheaper than live action.
Yeah, and I would love to see a good animated Duke Nukem because poor Duke Nukem, it just ever since Duke Nukem Forever, when it just didn't come out and didn't come out and didn't come out, and then they got tossed from PAX East because they brought Booth Babes, and everybody's like, read the room, guys. You do that at E3. You don't do that at PAX East. This is a
Well, also the
family show.
game just sucked too.
Right. Also, yeah, it was a terrible game. But it'll be interesting because I think the whole thing about Duke Nukem is it's anti-PC. That's
Mhm.
kind of the nature of Duke Nukem's. I think this might be the right time for that, as depressing as that sounds. But on top of that, I think that he can do this job right, be able to run that line where you're offensive, but not so offensive that you'll piss people off, that you'll be able to actually get people offended, even though Duke Nukem is an offensive game by modern standards. You could never get that game made it today.
No, but like I said, I'm interested just because of the pedigree behind it. He's a proven track record of knowing how to produce good shows.
AC Ray says, I await the well animated money from exploding strippers.
Mhm. My next item is so Lies of P Overture came out. It was shadow dropped during Summer Game Fest, and people very quickly complained about it being too difficult. So it got patched to be made easier. And I have checked online. I have scoured online. The guys who article almost made you quit Night Rain. Suspiciously quiet and silent on this difficulty nerf for Lies of P.
In another kind of thing, because when you sent me that, first off, I looked and it was like the Lies of P, the way that it was structured, it actually made it more difficult for advanced players.
Oh,
It actually ramped up the difficulty to a point of where if you tried to prestige the game, you actually could no longer beat the game because it penalized you for prestiging. Just the way that it ended up being. But when you sent me that week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I actually went and looked up that asshole's name to see if he had written anything about it. And curiously enough, up until that Night Rain article that I found so offensive, and I and many others, he was posting an article, maybe 2 a day, certainly 1 a day, but 2, sometimes 3 a day. Without hesitation, without fail. After that article, I noticed there's been maybe 2 or 3 stories total in the course of 2 weeks. So I'm thinking either he's fired or suspended, or maybe he just went on vacation. I don't know. But he's not writing, therefore not getting paid as much from VG 24/7 as he used to be. So maybe the good guys won on this one. And I haven't checked in a couple of weeks, so maybe he came back from vacation. I don't know. But he has been
I was checking.
suspiciously silent on everything, not just
I was checking. I think he moved to Eurogamer. I think he writes a lot at Eurogamer now. Still no comment on Eurogamer about Liza P though.
Interesting.
I dug into his history to like see.
Interesting.
Final news is interesting, if only because A, this game looks really cool, and also this is like a big announcement for a AAA game coming after all of the not E3 stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So this is NetEase.
This looks good.
NetEase announced.
This looks really good.
Yeah. NetEase announced, which is their first.
Uh-oh, your sound is kind of weird. You playing music? It's whatever you're playing on your screen playing music.
Okay, how am I now?
Now you're good.
Okay, yeah, I had it going a little bit.
Okay.
Let's skip ahead to some action. People have compared it to Uncharted. They called it like Ming Dynasty Uncharted.
It is, yeah. It's like Uncharted meets Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, and it definitely has a lot of that vibe to it. A lot of like running around, climbing on stuff has it collapses again, like the Aphelion. Climbing on stuff has it collapses. I'm a sucker for that.
Mm-hmm.
But it also has some like really good looking combat. This section in particular, as he's fighting in the sand, it looks like combat without the UI, but it also looks, the animation is really dynamic.
Yeah. It's if if they can deliver on this, this could be probably one of the best animation game or fighting games. I mean
adventure animated. Yeah. Really impressive.
It is really impressive. I can't imagine it will look this good. I can't imagine it will play this good.
I imagine it'll look this good. Look, all games look good now. It's not hard to make a good looking game.
That's true. But
the animation is impressive.
When I say looks good, the animation and also the gameplay animation.
Yeah.
It looks almost too good. It makes me suspicious because it looks so good.
Which is fair.
Yeah.
So yeah,
do they have any details on it, before, like release date or anything?
I think it's just 2026.
Okay.
Something out in 2026. Let's skip ahead.
You know what? AC Ray, put this down on the list. I'll look to see if NetEase is at PAX this year. I can't imagine they would. They'd probably, if they were going to PAX, go next year, but worth a shot.
Yeah. Also, I can't imagine that this would be
anything
coming
but
out next
the trailer being shown over and over again.
Yeah. But yeah, that looks
and
really
from
cool.
NetEase, I would not have expected a AAA game like this from NetEase.
I think, and this is another example of the Wukong effect. This is a Chinese developer stepping into the AAA space that America used to own.
Yeah. I mean, and we also looking at that. What was the one that was like this? They're climbing on
Modong.
No, climbing on things that are falling apart.
Oh, that was Aphelion, which was French.
Aphelion,
Wait,
right,
again, French studio, not
right,
American.
right.
Don't
But
nod.
also Mudong.
Udon, I think, is Korean, not
It's
Chinese.
Korean, right? So it's like these.
But yeah, all outside America developers.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's very much a thing. In fact, that was one of the things when we were looking at potentially Riot, was Snoop sniffing around for Chris. Is one of the things I said. I'm like, that's Tencent. And he's like, well, what about Tencent? I'm like, well, I mean, to be quite honest, China is making the most compelling games at the moment in the space where, especially RPG space, where it used to be all American. So, I mean, if you want to stay in the RPG space, which is what AI is really about, it's where it's best utilized. You're probably going to, if you want to make the best games, you're going to be working for a Chinese company. So, bottom line, that looks cool. And I'm not angry about it.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it.
So,
I will say, well, I won't show the trailer, but I'll leave you with this.
mhm.
On the Future Games show, they had a trailer for a new Expanse game coming out, which looked really cool
Expanse
because
is in like
the
the
TV show.
like
The
the Amazon.
Yes. You mean the sci-fi TV show?
Yeah, sci-fi TV show.
Yeah.
It was what?
and
It was originally by Sci-Fi, and then it was picked up by Amazon. Yeah.
yeah. That kind of looks like the second coming of Mass Effect in a lot of ways. It's like, ooh, this is interesting.
Really?
So yeah,
Well, that sounds
we'll look over like some of the Summer Games Fest and Future Game Show things next week.
juicy. That might be another place where we're going to be adding a bunch of stuff to be looking for. Incidentally, if you are interested in us hunting down or at least looking into upcoming games that you're aware of at E3, or sorry, at PAX West, like I said, I can't guarantee everything's going to be there, but there's only one way for me to know if a game that you want us to look into is there, is by telling us, so we can look into seeing whether that developer is going to be at PAX West. Now is the time to start doing that. Discord is a good place for us. We've usually done this as an email. No point in doing it in email because now we have our lovely Discord channel. So please get onto our Discord channel and join it if you aren't already there, and go into any one of like general conversation of like, hey, we might even create a new channel. I don't know if there's enough people that are saying, hey, can you look into this game? Give us some titles that you would like us to look into. So, and even better if you can supply us with the publisher or the developer's name so that we can see and monitor as publishers and developers are being added into the list of exhibitors at PAX West. We can be on the lookout for them. So if they do show up, we can contact them immediately and say, hey, we want to see your game. So right there, the Discord right there, that one right there that's coming across your screen. Join that Discord channel. You can also find us on, if you just want to do a search, look for the GameHounds Discord channel. But that's the channel URL for you to go to Discord, join the channel, and then start putting that into, general. Put it in the general conversation. And like I said, if there's enough people that it starts to become a thing where I have to make its own channel, I'll do that. So, all right. And that's going to stay open until the day we leave. And we'll keep you posted about games that we are particularly looking forward to and that are on our list that actually do end up at PAX. We will be keeping you informed
as
about
it
that.
gets closer, like a month before the event,
Right.
we usually start getting press emails about, hey, this game is going to be at PAX. Would you like
Right.
an appointment?
I'm already starting to see them come through now that we've been approved.
Oh, okay.
So, and yeah, of course, they're totally hogging up my mailbox. I'm going to have to throw away like so many unread emails in that mailbox because, of course, it's 2019. I haven't even looked at that email inbox. So I'm just going to be throwing away. I don't even, do I have it even? Can I see how many unread emails?
Oh, you mean
are
you've been
in-
collecting press emails in that?
Oh yeah, I've
5
never
years?
gotten myself off of any
Oh my
list.
God.
Where is it? It has 5,947 unread emails. That
5,900.
doesn't count the red emails.
That's over 1,000 emails a year.
1,000 emails a year that I get. From everything. Gamer Network, Funcom.
Wait, okay, 1,000 emails a year. How many does that break down to per day?
Udon Entertainment, Kate Pietrelli, Chris McQuinn about Railborn. This is just in the last 2 days. Casey Atchison Boyle about the Steam Next Fest, which is the 4th email that she has sent me in 4 days.
That's about 3 emails a day.
Yeah, at least, and it's going to get even worse. No, I'm looking like, yeah. Let's see. I got 2 on the 18th, 4 on the 17th, 4 on the 16th, 3 on the 15th, 3 on the 14th, 4 on the 14th. Yeah, so I get 3 or 4 emails a day that are just on these because I'm on these mailing lists, and I've never gone through the process of unsubscribing.
Yeah.
Which I should have.
Well, no, you didn't want to because you didn't know if you were going to go back to PAX.
No, I really don't want to. There's never, there are frequently codes, but they're codes for games that I do not want to try, and I don't have the time to. So that's one of the reasons why I've never unsubscribed, because there are occasionally codes, and I feel bad, like, hey, they're going to send me something. Maybe I might try it, but then I never do. So it's just been, I'm going to have to delete all 5,900 of those emails and then move on. Hopefully there's nothing important there, the winning lotto numbers or anything. All right. So with that, can we shut down this show? By the way, if you have not hit the like button, please hit the like button now. And if you like our content, please subscribe to us. We are, as we get closer to PAX time, we are going to be doing a lot more reaching out to you about what you want from our PAX coverage, because we haven't done this in 5 years. We need a little, remind us how to do our job. So that would be you telling us what you need to do. All right. So on that note, can we close out the show?
Yeah.
All right. Let's wait for it. Let's close this out. You've been listening to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 784. We recorded this on Sunday, April 22nd, 2025. I'm Edie Sellers, and with me has been Nick DiNicola. Ways to get a hold of us: GameHounds.net is our website. GameHounds@gmail.com is our email. We record this show live every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on Twitch, on YouTube, and on Facebook. On Twitch, we are The GameHounds. On YouTube, we are GameHounds Vids, VIDS, all one word. And on Facebook, we are The GameHounds. Please feel free to like and subscribe at any of those locations, or better yet, all of those locations. You can also find our information, like I said, at GameHounds.net is our website. We are 100% Patreon funded and self-funded, to be quite honest. $1 a month is all we ask for offsetting some of the costs of the subscriptions that we are required to have in order to stream this live on YouTube and Twitch and on Facebook, and also to put it up as an edited podcast on iTunes. So if you would like to become a Patreon sponsor, patreon.com/GameHounds, $1 a month is all we ask. That's a pretty good deal. 25 cents a show on average, sometimes 12 and a half. So just go ahead and do that. And for everyone that has done that, thank you so much. It really makes a difference. And again, once again, our Discord. We mentioned our Discord before. Now is a great time to get on and to start conversing with us, because as we're getting close to the PAX time, you can tell us what you want us to see and report on from PAX West. We are here for you. So if you want to make those requests, go onto our Discord and just ask. But we can't guarantee we'll be able to get you the answers, but if you ask, we'll do our damnedest to make sure that we do. So what else do I have? Oh, YouTube. I'm sorry, iTunes. We do this show also as an audio podcast after the fact every week. If you would love to come and listen to this while you're commuting or exercising or whatever, however you want to listen to it, we would love to have you do that. It is on iTunes as GameHounds Podcast. And if you do listen to it as an audio show, please do me a favor, leave us some feedback. You can't imagine what a difference that makes for other people to find us. So thank you, Nick, for being on the show again, as always.
Happy to be here.
All right. And we will see you next week, everyone. Have a great week. Bye-bye. Jesus, a 3-hour show. 3 hours and 23
Oh,
seconds.
do 59. Oh, wait, we can still extend it to 3.
No. It is at 3 hours. 3 hours and 30 seconds.
No, I see 2:59:10.
I see 3 hours and 35 seconds.
No, I think we need 40 more seconds.
No, we're not doing that. All right, everyone.
40 more
Have a great week.
seconds.
See
No,
you next
no,
week.
no, no.
Bye.
Wait.
Bye.